Did you ever stop to think how much leisure you really have? Some of us put our leisure to good use. And some of us, Ken Michaels, for example, spend most of our leisure just moping.
Moping? He thinks I'm moping. Well, who wouldn't mope? There's nothing to do, nobody's around. You know how it is. I went down to the bowling alley, went over to the drugstore. None of the gang was there. All my friends are busy, so what's for me to do?
Do you suppose Ken has more leisure than his friends do?
Huh? Well, no, I don't have more. We all spend about the same amount of at school, and the rest is leisure. I've got nothing to do but wait for supper. My friends have more things to do. They're lucky.
Ken's pretty lucky, too.
Listen to that. All right, I'll bite. Why am I lucky?
Because you have so much leisure, which you can do things you enjoy, and which you don't have to work.
Like this, huh? Is that good?
Let me show you a few things. Suppose you had lived 100 years ago. What would you have been like? Take a look.
Where? Oh, is that me? Is that what I would have looked like 100 years ago?
Well, perhaps. But now, well, let's look back 100 years again and see someone else.
Who? Hey, that's my dad.
Young man, you get off that bed and get to work. After you clean out the stable, you can build some new steps for the back porch. While I work 72 hours a week, no son of mine is going to loaf.
72 hours?
12 hours a day, 6 days a week. Tomorrow morning, young man, you're going out to get a regular job. You can work too, and earn your keep.
Not so good, Ken? Well, let's try another picture. Say about 50 years ago.
Oh, hello, son. Well, say, I've got some new pictures for the stereoscope. We'll look at them tonight. Don't forget about your chores. Have them all done by the time I'm through work. And keep the wood box full.
Boy, how long will you work, Dad?
Why, 10 hours. 10 hours a day, every day except Sunday.
60 hours a week? Boy.
Well, Ken, let's take a look at your father's as it really is today.
Hi, Dad. You sure don't work as long hours as they used to.
That's right, Ken. It's a wonderful thing to be able to do so much work in so little. This 40-hour a week suits me fine. And some people even work shorter hours nowadays. But by the way, Ken, how'd you like to play a quick round of golf before supper? I think we can work it in. And then later, I'd like to shellac that new bookcase I'm making.
Well, Ken?
Yes, Dad does enjoy his leisure. And to think that a few years ago, people didn't have nearly so much to themselves.
Yes, we've gained a lot of leisure in the last century or so. All of us.
Wait a minute. All of us? Mother should hear you.
Hello? Is this thing on? Oops, I forgot to, hold on, let me get my OST up. I mean, hello everyone. Hello everyone, hello. Would you like to say hello, Phi?
Hello everybody, I'm Phi the Neutrophil, your white blood cell immune, white blood cell extraordinaire streamer. I'm great, hello.
I am, well, you know me, I'm Charis Euphranor, first and last philosopher VTuber, last librarian of Alexandria, and we are here today, for a very special, it's not that special, it's kind of, you know what, you know how everything is unique, well, I think this one is more unique than all the other things. This is a venting stream about life. We're gonna vent about life today.
I'm so excited.
Hello everyone. So this is a free-for-all, I think. I want to establish that this is a free-for-all vent stream. And what that means is if you have something you want to complain about, you should just complain about it in chat. It's okay. You are allowed. This is a safe space for complaining about things, because that's all we're doing today. Is we're gonna complain about stuff. Isn't that right?
Yes, yes. Let's go.
Volume check, volume check. I want to make sure you guys hear Fi. Is volume okay?
Is my volume okay? I get to scream. I get to vent. I get to do it on Charis's channel because I'm too say-so on my own channel. So it would be uncouth for me to do this on my own channel. So I'm happy for the opportunity to come here and ruin my own reputation.
This is indeed the Couth channel. This is the this is the one. This is the one that's a bit less say so, and it's a bit more told you so. That's guaranteed.
Oh, did you just come up with that?
Off the dome.
Yo, that's my streamer.
Sound is decent, voice is okay. Good. Excellent. Somebody asked, can I vent about you? No, you cannot vent about me because I'm perfect and there's nothing to vent about. Except for the fact that, you know, I can't be everywhere at once and I cannot stream 24 hours a day. Those are like the two things that make me imperfect. Everything else is great though.
Yeah, my flaw is that I'm a perfectionist. Type energy.
I've never actually heard anyone say that. I can't imagine actually saying that, not thinking about the words that are coming out of your mouth. Because even if you are, you wouldn't want to say that your flaw is being a perfectionist, right? I don't know.
I mean, if you genuinely are a perfectionist, the correct answer would be, I spend way too much time caring about small details, which can slow things down, which is the practical way of saying that.
Yeah. That's true. It's very but you know, that's very practical. That's very rational, sound, reasonable advice. I think today we're here more to complain about things that are, or maybe to just, you know, maybe not scream our lungs out, because I do want to preserve my voice. But we are here to be unreasonable in our demands and complaints. I think. I don't know, actually. Are we? What are we?
I think I'm super reasonable in my rants. I think I'm so reasonable.
Do you? Okay, so when I rant, I feel like I start off reasonable, and then I get into like unreasonable territory. Like it creeps into like, okay, I'm asking for too much now, but I've just, the ball's rolling. I'm in that like, I've got that momentum going on. Like I just can't stop myself. I gotta just keep going. Does that ever happen to you? Do you like bring it, you know, over the edge?
The thing is that I've had quite a few number of years as a teacher where you cannot allow that to happen to yourself. So I think I'm all bundled up, right? I'm rehearsed. I'm bundled up. I've steel manned my own my own rants in preparation for this stream because I do not come unprepared.
That is good. That sounds sensible. Which is totally sometimes a thing here.
I spent way too long arguing against myself so that I could come correct, essentially.
Do you argue with yourself in the shower?
Yeah, actually, in terms of like deciding what to write for my content, like if I have to mention for, you know, God forbid, a vaccine, I have to think about every way a YouTube commenter can voice their opinion against mine, and to try to shut off all routes of escape. So I do a lot of that in the shower, of just being like, oh, there's freaking imagined person. I'm gonna.
So do you like do a voice? You're like, what about this? Actually, like, do you do like a...
Yeah. Actually, that's what it sounds like in my head.
Do you use that? I don't think I've observed that voice in your videos. Do you use that in your videos? Do you like
no.
Anyone?
No, because again, on my channel, I'm say so. I'm the teacher you always wanted, and then on here, I sent Charis my rant list beforehand, and one of them is going to be about students. So, like, I could never complain because on my channel, I'm very caring, parental, even mentor, like, you know, the look of the little biology lab babies, and you know, you have a bright future ahead of you. But here I get to be like, some students are they're a little
Oh, I want to do that. Actually, what do we think is like the best way to start this other than just getting right into it? Because I'm like, there's so many things I could complain about, you and I both, And I think we agreed kind of like to maybe take turns on this. So I'm just wondering, since you're the guest of honor today, would you like to go first?
Oh, absolutely. So I wanted to rant about something that you had brought up in a previous stream where
Ooh.
you had mentioned that you believed that you were ugly.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
This was the I'm ugly. And then immediately what had happened was you had gotten sympathy from your chatters and even some potential denials like, "Oh, you're probably not ugly." Here's the thing. I have no idea what you look like. You could be ugly. If you say you're ugly, why would I doubt you, right? But that's not the point. What you had in that story that you had told about how do you get proof that you are in fact ugly, you had told a story, and I'll recap this here for your chat, where there was a girl that you were talking to. I don't actually know if you were interested in them or they were interested in you, but there was a girl that you were talking to, and she had said, "If only you were hot." Right? You recall this? If only you were hot. And that,
I recall this.
I swear, dude, the flashbacks, bro. My brother's just another me. I've heard those exact same words come out of somebody who I was talking to. Yeah, dude, like, if only you were hot is such a crazy thing to say. And like, I heard it when I was a teenager, right? When I was a teen. And that was when I was like at my highest level of visual self-worth in terms of like, I really did care about my appearance back then. I had like a whole like K-pop kind of hair going on, and I made choices to dress a certain way. And then to at the peak of like I'm hot stuff to hear "If only you were hot," I was like, oh, the tumble,
The fall,
the tumble down the mountain, dude. The
How
fall
do you
from
ever
grace.
recover from that?
Oh, I think I have mostly recovered from that. But hearing you say those words, I was brought immediately back then. Like, you know, now I'm like a confident, older neutrophil. Like I don't, you know, view myself in a certain way. But all it took was that little peek into the past. And then for like a solid 15 seconds, I was like that insecure teenager again. And I was like, damn, that's crazy. But then I was brought back to reality, right? Because here's the thing, right? And you had gotten to some of this during your stream where like it's okay to be ugly. It's also okay to acknowledge that some people are ugly, right? You know,
Yes.
as a biologist, I can tell you that biology is very complicated and that the spectrum of what biology can look like is extremely varied, right? There's a huge spectrum of people. You can look at my YouTube comments for the spectrum of humanity, right? Some people leave very nice comments. Other people, you wonder whether or not they're from Mars. And, you know, just like everything's on a spectrum. Life is a roguelike video game where you don't get to respawn unless you're a Buddhist, in which case you can reincarnate. But, you know, for the most part, you just roll certain things about your life and then you just gotta play, right? And like the reaction to immediately deny that one could be ugly is such a quick like band-aid, right? It is applying the like Resident Evil healing goop, you know, like, oh, you know, I have heard that I'm ugly. Oh, no, you're not ugly. I'm like, how do you know? You don't know.
You're denying my experience as an ugly person.
It's true. It's like what, like it's to me. The reason why this is a rant is because to me it's even more offensive when your first reaction is no, you are not ugly when you don't know what I look like. Because that means that you are taking pity on me, right? That you are you believe that I need this self-esteem boost from being told that I'm not actually ugly. And you know, I haven't judged you for this, right? I don't know if you're ugly, right? Statistically speaking, it is more likely that you are average than you are ugly. That's just a fact. But in your case, you could be ugly. That is true.
You could be hideous.
you could be hideous. And I don't, as a scientist, all right, as a scientist, I cannot make a claim that I do not have evidence for, and I don't have evidence that you are neither average nor ugly, so I will not presume either or. But I will say that the observation of the immediate denial in certain cases of like, oh, you're probably fine, it's all in your head, is like, well, it might not be. and like, and the great thing about that stream was that the next line has to be, but that's okay. Right.
Yes.
And that's, I think, a really great part about the stream that you did, is that it's okay that you had called it a face card, right? Like you in your perception, you have rolled low on your face card. But like, I think a very important part about like aging is the improvements that typically comes with being self-assured, right? In high school, I think there's an effect of like, you are with your tribe every goddamn day of your life, right? You go to school with the same people. People's opinions of you matter a lot more to you because you see these people every day. They have an outsized effect on your social experience. Whereas when you're an adult, you show up to work and then you go home and then you stream. like right? Like you don't care, because people say, "Oh, high school, it doesn't matter." But like that's also offensive to high schoolers, right? A high schooler's high school life is important to them because of their environment. You show up to classes every day, you're surrounded by the same people. And that's a different environment than the adult working life, where you get to be alone a lot more frequently by choice, or sometimes not by choice, where was I? And this like, I'm using your stream as like a more broad platform for this idea. So I'm not like targeting your chatters in particular, but like the idea in general reminded me of this idea that like nobody can ever be fat, nobody can ever be ugly, right? It is like we can move kind of beyond those judgments as being inherently human negative, and more into reclaiming the stuff that we actually do like about ourselves. So in my case of like, oh, if only you were hot, I'm like, oh, okay, well, yeah, I think rolling higher on the looks, on the face card is like a general buff to your situation, right? But like, when you play a game of Slay the Spire and you get like a meow bonus that you don't like, right? Oh, I have to take max HP. Do you just reload the game? like, it's still worth playing the game. You can still have fun playing Slay the Spire, even if you don't get like the exact starting bonus you want for your roguelike, right? So it's just like, I think, and I don't blame anybody for it either, because when you have a friend who's expressing a negative opinion about themselves, the snap reaction that you want to make is, oh, I should make my friend feel better. But then there's like the snap reaction is to deny the claim, when I think the appropriate reaction would be to double down on what they do like about themselves, which is something that I learned to do for myself in therapy. Because I had this thing about like, I was very self-conscious about my intelligence. Like I went to a school for like genius babies, is about what I would say. And I was not a genius baby. I was just really stubborn and hardworking. And I know this because just like how you have a story about like, yeah, this girl said if only I were hot and this baby cried, or like whatever the other story was. Whatever
something along those lines. I walk around and babies just like burst into tears.
It's just like that SpongeBob
Mama,
episode
who is this
of
ugly
man. What's the Patrick? Once upon a time, the ugly barnacle that was so ugly everybody died. like,
oh my god,
I have a similar story to that I have a similar story to that, but in graduate school, not for my face, but for my intelligence, where I remember like talking to my fellow grad students, and I was like, bro, that paper we had to read, it was so hard, and then like my fellow grad students were like, yeah, dude, it was really hard, it took me 2 hours to get through it. And I was like, bro, 2 hours? Dude, it took me 8 hours. I got home from lab and then I went to bed at like 1 trying to figure out the paper. And then in that moment I was like, oh god, I'm kind of dumb.
I'm surrounded by people who all have like a power level that's like 10 times my power level, and it is only a matter of time until they find out, oh no.
yeah. Well, okay. So the snap reaction that a lot of my friends have to that self-assessment is that, well, you went to a good graduate school, so you're surrounded by people with a much higher power level, right? Like that. Well, a very high power level, and you should count yourself amongst them. and so you should not think that you are dumb. And I'm like, okay, I don't think I'm dumb. That's true. I don't think that is fair to say about myself. I will say I think I'm pretty average in terms of intelligence, given how much I have to work to keep up with everybody else, right? And the thing about that is like just like you know ugly is like a little on the other side of the spectrum than being average in terms of intelligence, right? But like I wrapped a lot of my self ego around the idea of being smart, and so to have to acknowledge to myself the idea that I'm actually not that smart. I'm actually pretty average, and I just have to haul ass to like be at everyone else's level is like, well, isn't that just a metaphor for everything about any level of disadvantage that anybody has in their life? Whatever roguelike benefits slash, demerits, punishments, handicap, whatever you want to call it. Like, you just have to figure out how to play around those weaknesses. And like, you're not dumb, you're actually smart because of X, Y, and Z. It's like, I would rather you say that I'm like a hard worker, because if I am allowed to think that I am smart, every time that I am shown that I am not smart is like a devastating blow to my narcissism, right? And I think that like the face thing is also true for you, I assume, right? Where people are like, oh no, you're not actually that bad looking, or you actually look pretty good, and then there's this little spark in you that might go, oh, maybe I'm not that bad looking after all. But then you get humbled
by the immediate next encounter.
Yeah, a baby, like, just cry, like, whatever, right? Like, again, I don't know that you're ugly. I don't. Again, if I ever meet you in real life, I might.
For it, though.
Yeah, I'm taking your word for it. I'm accepting your own perception of your own experience. I trust that you have some level of understanding of your situation. I don't have any evidence to say otherwise. But it's like, if you deny the data that lie in front of you, and you delude yourself into believing that the data are not true, then the fall from grace gets so much worse. Like, here I am, high on my mountain. I'm a good looking guy. I'm a little K-pop boy, and then I wish you were hot comes, and that's devastating. Whereas a stable trait, right, like hard work, right? I'm hardworking. I accept that about myself. I pride myself in that. That is replicable. It is stable. It is unlikely to change with life circumstances. It is unlikely to change with age. I think I'll be hardworking forever. Similarly to you, I think you can add a lot of people. You add a lot of value to your viewers here on your channel, provide them with an interesting place to discuss interesting things that are meaningful to them. And that's like way more of an ego boost than you're actually smart. Oh, you're actually not ugly. I'm like leave those comments.
I like how you brought up the K-pop look, because in my head I was thinking Ryan Gosling, but
that's
I'm thinking
how
Ryan Gosling look.
It's so funny because there was a girl I had a crush on, and we went to see The Notebook together.
Oh, yeah.
And she was like, "Oh, it's such a good movie." And I was watching The Notebook. I was like, I think I hate Ryan Gosling. I think I hate this movie.
Did you lie and say, "Oh yeah, I loved it too"?
Yes.
Yes.
Let's go.
You can't see it. I'm pointing my fingers like right now, just like at the screen. Like, yes, that's exactly what you do in a situation like that. Is you lie. You have to lie. You have to say, yeah, actually, I liked the thing, because you can't I don't know. If you don't like it, you can only express one criticism, and it needs to make you sound sympathetic and intelligent. Otherwise, it's like, just shut up.
Yes. Yeah, that is correct. You can't like do that if you are, and you could argue that is manipulative or distasteful or dishonest. But in those circumstances, I think it's very reasonable, right? I had this interesting conversation with my wife about this movie called The Passenger, I think, with Chris Pratt. I don't know. Yeah, have you seen it?
Yes. And I know.
So
I think I know what you're about to say, but keep going.
In the movie, there is a moral dilemma that is presented. I'm not going to spoil the movie.
Spoilers for. Oh, are we not spoiling it?
Oh, I mean, sure, you can spoil it.
Okay, spoilers for Passengers. You can spoil. You can intro it.
Sure. So I didn't actually watch the movie. Like the entire plot was told to me by my wife because I was working on this stupid video. But I found the idea quite interesting, right? The idea of so Chris Pratt is on a spaceship in future Earth, and he's going to go colonize a different planet, and it's like 100 miles away, and he's put into cryostasis. But then he wakes up 10 years in, and there's other passengers on this spaceship, and he tries really hard to not wake anybody else up because you're essentially condemning them to death if the human life expectancy is about 80, right? But he does eventually wake somebody up. He tanks like a full year and a half of solitary confinement, essentially, no other human contact for a year. And I was like, I think that's an interesting idea. I haven't seen the movie, but I appreciate the philosophical question at the end, at the heart of this movie. Is like, would you be able to forgive somebody who condemned you to death if they were going to essentially die without your company, right? I think that's not a straightforward black and white moral thing. I don't think there's anything easy about that scenario. And then when I read reviews for this movie online, dude, the critics hated it. Rotten Tomatoes score of 30. They were like, "This is not a rom-com." I'm like, "Yeah, it's not a rom-com." like, what are you? This is a horror movie. Like from the description, I'm like, "What are you people saying?" So like, if I were on a date and I was like, "Oh, this is such an interesting thing," about whatever, and then the person that I'm watching the movie with is like, this movie sucks because like I think this. The morality is black and white. There's like a real, we're like incompatible, right? If you believe that morality in this movie is black and white, where Chris Pratt should never have woken anybody up and just died, like if you truly believe that in your heart of hearts, that is 100% the right thing to do 100% of the time with no wiggle room, I don't think that we can like be together, right? But in terms of like the Notebook, I'm like, am I just being an a-hole by not liking this movie? That there's the wiggle room to lie, right? There's a little wiggle room to self-delude with the Notebook versus the Passengers, where art can make you feel things and make you talk about things, but like to me, like I don't want to make it seem like lie to get what you want. There's wiggle room, right? There's nuance.
I was actually gonna say I would love if somebody said, "Oh, I hated the Passenger," or Passenger. I forget what the exact like title is, but like I hate that movie because it's like black and white and it's immoral, and what Chris Pratt did was, or they maybe didn't hate the movie, but they were like, "Oh, what Chris Pratt did was so messed up, and I would never like condone that, and it's horrible and stuff." Like because then for me, I'm like, the way it works in my head is like my gears start turning and my eyes light up, and I go, "Oh my god, this person has never thought about this question before. I'm about to introduce this person to the dilemma to them by asking them, okay, what would you do if you were Chris Pratt?" And this person has never once even considered that in their life, and I'm about to see that for the first time. Like my gears start turning. I go, "Oh my god, this is gonna be a fun conversation." If somebody says something like that,
you are so patient. Okay, you can add that to your good qualities, right? Like I would not. I don't even want to engage. Right, I'm too afraid of what I might learn about somebody's lack of self-reflection. Okay, I'm kind of a dick. I can say that on your channel, right?
You can. You're allowed.
On my channel, I'm say so. I'm non-judgmental. I'm here for everybody. On your channel, I'm like, if you don't critically reflect on art as an adult, I am judging you.
Oh my god, this is so real. I need to rant about art for a second, but I want to respond to some comments. I want to one of the comments I want to respond was from Tia, who said, "To be clear, I was previously," this is on like the whole ugliness thing that we were on a while ago, "I was previously told that his model was based on his IRL appearance, so I'd call it less invalidating denial and more skepticism over mixed messaging." That's fair. It is mixed messaging because I have claimed, and I'd stand by. It's not like I lied about that. Like my model is based on. So the person who drew my model, who I affectionately call Art Team, is someone I know in real life, and she drew this model based on like how I look, or at least that was my request. I was like, "Can you draw me, but as an attractive anime boy?" And in those few words, the word attractive really did a lot of heavy lifting. And she was very gracious enough to like kind of just take all of my good features and accentuate them and yada yada. So it's like it's based on me, but it's like there's not. It's that image. Do you know that image that's like a toothpick changes everything, and it's the guy with oh my god, it's the toothpick changes everything guy. Toothpick changes everything, and it's basically this like before and after image of the same guy who first with a toothpick and then without a toothpick, and then with the toothpick he looks so much more like rugged and handsome, and then without the toothpick he looks like he doesn't know like where he is, and he's just lost and confused. And I'm gonna pull this up when I put this on stream. I sent it to you as well.
That's so good.
It's literally that. It's literally that. Hold on. How do I pull this up? No, I don't want image.
That's
I want
so
to
good.
share my window. How do I do that? Wait. Window.
You can add an image as a OBS source.
I can, but then I'll have to save it. Okay, there it is. It's that, okay? It's literally a toothpick changes everything. It's literally that. It's literally like our team put the toothpick on me and then it instantly changed. You're gonna go, well, then it's not, then it shouldn't be that. It is. There are like, it's so weird the way, maybe you can enlighten me on why this is the case, but it's like, you don't have to do a lot in terms of like tweaking a face. And I mean less like in real life and more like, via Photoshop or any other like software where you like edit photos. You don't have to do that much to make someone look way better. I had one of my this is a weird memory. I didn't think I'd dig this memory up, but now that it's in my head. When I was in school, when I was in like uni, I think like I worked in group projects as one does, and in one such group project, it was a kind of longer term, more laid back thing. So I really got to know like my group members, even though we weren't like, I was the only philosophy major there. Everyone else was like a different major. And we took like a group photo at the end because we also hold on, I'm mixing this up. Yeah, we took a group photo at the end, and one of my the group mate who took it was like, hey Charis, so can I post it? Can I tag you on Instagram? Like, is that okay? And I said, sure, absolutely, okay. And then like 2 hours later, I see her still on her phone. And I'm like, what are you doing? And she's like, I'm just editing the photo. So I look over and she's editing my face. Like everyone else's face is like relatively like untouched. And then I look at my face. I'm like, what did you do? I'm like, that's not me. And she was like, no, it is. Look. And like, I was like, no, you've changed it. That's not like that's a whole different person, I said. And she was like, no. It's literally like one button. And then she showed me on her like app, like you could just tap one button and then it like turned my face into like, it was still like me, I think. But I had to add that I think in there because it was like, I was just confused. I was like, I didn't know I could look that way. I didn't know that was what is this filter? It's just not a filter. It's some sort of weird. Anyways, like that's a story that just bubbled up into my brain the moment I thought that. I'm sorry. I don't think I've told that. I haven't thought about that in years, but that just reminded me of this.
I mean, yeah, I mean, there's no like biological reason that I could faithfully say without dipping into evolutionary psychology, right? But like, I kind of get the toothpick thing because I feel like I'm also like not a photogenic person in the sense where if I know a camera is there, my face tenses up, and I hate every photo that I'm in because my face is always doing something weird to attempt to look normal. I don't even like candids that I'm in, right? I don't like, when people say that like, oh, I hate hearing my voice. It took me maybe a month to get over like the like harsh reaction I have to my own voice. I like cringe at whatever photo I'm in. It's really like, and that's okay. I don't feel badly about that. But it is just reality that I don't like pictures of myself.
I think like
Tia says that story is more convincing than any others that you've said.
It's true. These are everything I've said is true. Okay, I will say I love telling these stories because I do believe them. It's not like I'm lying, but I will say that like statistically speaking, I'm probably average because there's so many people in this world. I just like to accentuate this one bit because it's like it's a good sort of like, it's a good thing to riff on, and more importantly, it's like I know that it's not my strength, but it's not like a how shall I say it? It's like I didn't roll a 0. It was just shoot. What are the?
It's
What's
like
the highest
it's like
it
a
can go to?
neutral condition.
Yeah, it's
right?
like it's
not,
like a
you didn't
neutral.
get debuffed all that much.
I would say it's like a little bit of a debuff. It's like a little.
No. I think that's fair. I think that's fair.
Yeah, but it's
and
not
the
a
thing
big
is that if you are very diligent about your self perception, right, you can tally experiences where it was a debuff, experiences where it was neutral, experiences where it was positive. And if you are honest with yourself, you can kind of calibrate pretty realistically, I think, because I think I'm pretty average looking. Part of that is because my wife also thinks I'm average looking, and that's pretty good endorsement, right? That's pretty good evidence.
Yeah.
I'm just a guy, I'm just that's fine,
But I think that's even more like, to me it feels better when I then turn around, like for me, for example, I turn around and I'll tell stories about like Miss, oh my god, I almost said the country name again, Miss Country. I'll tell stories like the Miss Country story where, outlandishly beautiful people who really shouldn't have anything to do with me have nonetheless like chatted me up and all of that. And it's like, that to me, it's like I want to be ugly. Do you know what I mean? Like there's a part of me that's, not only am I okay with it, but I wear that with a little bit of pride, because it's like I had that debuff and I still beat the game. I had that debuff and I still cleared it.
Dude, that's like, okay, it's like when you play Slay the Spy, there are ascensions, right? You're not going to play on baby mode all the time. Baby mode isn't fun, right? And the actual buff that you do get from being average to ugly is that people, when they want to be your friend, if you're not rich, then they just genuinely want to be your friend, right?
Yes.
Like I've heard these experiences before where usually women, but very attractive women, they're never quite really sure whether or not a guy is just being nice or wants to be friendly or wants something more out of a relationship, right?
Yes.
I have never once doubted the sincerity of any single one of my friendships, because why do you care about me other than you want to be my friend? Like, that's a good thing.
Yes.
That's a positive thing.
Surely it's not to want to take photos with me, or maybe it is. Maybe it is though, because
that's dark.
It's that thing where it's like they look better when they stand next to you, and it's that juxtaposition.
Social comparison theory. No, surely not.
No, I'm gonna go to sleep tonight. We're both gonna go to sleep tonight thinking about that, and it's gonna keep us awake. I mean, what? No, but you're so right though, in that like it's one of the nicer things about having nothing superficial that someone else could like take advantage of, and potentially want, like, but the fact that I would imagine from what you've just told me, probably in that neutral state. That clear state means that someone who actually wants to like befriend you, or like me, right? In real life, obviously, is someone who just actually wants to befriend you for your like qualities and traits as a person, rather than anything that's immediately obvious and superficial, which I think is what serves the more like disingenuous encounters and interactions that people have. And it's one of the good things about me not being a beautiful like person, but especially I think especially women, but beautiful people in general. Like you, one of the problems I will never have is insincere people coming up to me because they just want something from me, or they want, like they want to.
Yeah.
It's just for my like looks or whatever. Like that. I know that's not
wholly unremarkable. Right? What it is, that I'm ugly and I'm proud, but it's more like I'm unremarkable and I'm proud.
Yes. Or at least that's like you're like visually unremarkable. So if somebody makes a remark, that's something you worked on, or something you're proud of, actually.
Yeah, and I also don't have like a lot of money, right? Like I don't have like superficial traits that are attractive about me. I'd say most of what I like about myself is stuff that you need to hang around a bit for, which if people are willing to give you the time of day, it must mean that they have some amount of buy-in to your thing as a person. Which is, it's something that I have taken for granted. But as an adult, as people say, like it gets harder and harder to make friends, and I am fabulously lucky to be in a position where I have adult friendships, which is like something I do not take for granted, right?
Mm-hmm.
Can I go back to something that I want to say just to
Yes.
get back into teacher mode and
yeah.
not come off too much like an a-hole? I
Yes.
said when I was talking about The Passenger that if you do not critically engage with media, then I judge you for it. I want to quantify that really quick just so that people don't walk away thinking that I'm some kind of elitist, right? If you have a negative opinion about something, you have to come correct. That's my only requirement.
Ooh.
Right? If you criticize something, you have to bring receipts. You have to have thought very carefully. Because here's the thing. If you are leaving a bad review on something, a YouTube video, speaking from personal experience, a movie, someone's hard work, someone's art, right? Someone poured their heart, their like whole soul into a project, and you leave a mean comment. Or not even a mean comment, because that's a moral judgment. I mean a critical comment. You could have done this better. You could have done that better. You better have thought really, really hard about the intended effect, about the intended audience, and all of these other aspects of creating art before you open your mouth. I feel like that's not an elitist thing to say. I'm not like, you need to have gone to film school. No. Like, I didn't go to film school, right? I just thought the idea was interesting. And instead of being like, wow, I can't believe this isn't a rom-com, or I can't believe Chris Pratt is, oh my God, the comment that made me the maddest is like, okay, imagine you're on a spaceship for 100 years and you wake up year 10 of 100 years, you're going to die. And you're trying really hard not to wake somebody up. But like he sees like, I think Jennifer Lawrence or something.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
And he's like, waking her up would mean essentially her death. Right? That's not an easy position to be put in. And he like obsesses over her, like puts her on a pedestal, is a real creep about it. And there were like criticisms of like, oh my God, why was Chris Pratt such a freak? I'm like, oh my God, if you were going to die because of self-isolation, you would be a creep too. You would be a creep too. How can you not have this level of like empathy? How have we not learned to put ourselves in someone else's shoes for even a moment to be like, why is Chris Pratt such a little creep? I can't believe he's written this way. This isn't.
If it were me, I would never do that.
Yeah, if it were me, I would be normal. I would be so normal, having doomed to 100 years of self-isolation.
I will just die alone. That'd be such an easy decision to make for me, actually, because I'm super moral.
Oh my. Yeah, exactly. I'm just like, how have we come to this stage when a lot of the media that we grew up with is about the gray morality that exists in the universe, right? Like I think you can both commit a terrible thing. You can do something terrible and have it also be something that is understandably human, right? I'm not excusing evil actions, but I'm saying in Chris's, position where you are condemning someone else to die, or you yourself are going to die. Well, look at that. What is that? Is that the trolley problem? The trolley problem?
No! Pull the lever! Don't pull the lever!
Pull the lever! Don't pull the lever! Like you think it's so easy to decide whether to pull the lever, don't you? Like I just want some. Again, I'm not being an art like snob. If you are going to be mean, you have to come correct. There are mean comments that are also coming correct because they have receipts. And if you are just being like, I didn't like the movie, and then you make a mean comment, I think less of you. That's me quantifying me being an a-hole.
I think I think we're somewhat aligned. I feel like it's okay for somebody to say, I didn't like this, as long as they're expressing that somewhat clearly. But if they're like, I didn't like this, therefore it's bad, or rather than saying I didn't like this, they said this thing is bad, that grinds my gears. That pisses me off. That makes me go into you don't know what you're talking about. Like you should. I think if you are, and like this is when it's directed to me, is when I get super hot aggro because it's directed to me, and it's only happened like a handful of times. It's not that many, but I'm like, you can criticize me, and there have been comments that have criticized me and maybe like my work or whatever that I think are fair, and those hit hard in a good way because I'm like, damn, this person like laid out really good points, and I actually feel like I should think about that and like, you know, my impact on the not the viewers, but you know, like, yeah, my impact in the world if I want to continue being a little too snobbish. Maybe I should tone it down a bit, right? Like that's like those are good things, but when someone comes at me and they're not prepared, I'm like, you better not miss. You shooting at the king, you better not miss. I'm like, I'm putting my hands up. Miss. I'm like ready to fight them. I'm like, you have no idea who you're picking a fight with. Do you understand the level of discourse I've been seeped into? Like, I may be Krillin, but I'm still a Z fighter, okay? I've been in the trenches. I've seen Cell almost destroy the planet, okay? I've been through shit. You cannot fight me on this. I get so aggro when it's like an unfair comment.
I get angry at them, like this genre of comment. I got called. I think you may have seen this post on Twitter or something where I had gotten a comment that was like, "And this is why you're languishing in mid-tier YouTube," and I was like, "Bro, whoa, what are you talking about?" Like the comment. Yeah, I love the distillation of this idea. It's okay to not like something, but when you make a judgment on it, if you call it bad, you are affecting that artist's ability to earn further income, which is okay. Some pieces of art, I think, are genuinely bad. I would agree.
Yep.
Maybe not objectively, because everyone's bad is different, right? But if you are staking a claim that a piece is bad and not just personally unlikable, you need to come correct. Like, you need to, you better not miss, essentially, because it's so... You're gonna look like a fool, like a real silly old fool. And yeah, I get those comments too, where like there are comments that are like, "Oh, I felt the organization in this segment was a little confusing," or "I got lost in this segment." I was like, "Okay, good. You're providing me data, right? You were confused in this segment. That's on me. That's my fault. I feel badly for that, right? I'll do better in the future. I take those to heart." But the bad comments, and I've definitely sent you this comment before, was like, "Stop trying to be so cute." Like,
bitch, I'm adorable.
What are you talking? Go watch MIT's free lecture series on YouTube. What are you doing? You clicked on a cartoon. You clicked on the thumbnail. I didn't hide that I'm a cartoon. I'm cute. Why are you telling me not to be cute?
I love
beep.
That.
You know, like what? I can't. Like, it is so like and this is what I mean by like the spectrum of humanity is so broad. Because I'm like, I've never met this person in real life before. Like the lunacy of this commenter to click on a cute cartoon thumbnail and then berate me for being cute. I'm like, I have never met you in real life, and I do not want to.
Oh, I don't know. Tia brings up a somewhat related, maybe like rant, maybe not, but like she says, I feel like psychosocially speaking, someone who makes fun of other subcounts is most likely a nobody. I think people who make fun of other people or judge other people based not on like the merits or qualities of the thing, but rather like the success they have not received yet, are people who are obsessed only with those things, and like they just, that's all that's in their head all the time. That I don't know if this is the same for you, Fi, but there are some like stupid comments that just kind of slide right off me, and those comments tend to be the ones that are like that have clearly not seen like the thing that I put out at all. Like, it ignored everything except for maybe the title of the stream or the video, and then just commented something like that. Slides right off me. That, like, because that's like, I'm like, this person was just impatient, and they're not actually talking about me. They're talking about this topic, which I happen to be like, you know, presenting or talking about. They're not really discussing my take. They're just discussing their take because they have nobody listen to, and they have nobody to talk to, and they wanted to just express that somewhere, and then like that clears for me. Is it the same for you?
Yeah, it happens a lot. Where there's a comment that I will see, and it will tick me off, but not because I take anything personally, but it's just because I can't believe you are so sad. Like as you said, like, you are just, if you had people in your life who valued your opinion, and you had like a group chat, where like you could I'm being such a judgmental fool right now, but like
It's okay,
the
this
way
is the
that
stream for that.
yeah, exactly, right? Like maybe this is me being unreasonable in my demands, right? But if you leave a dumb comment judging a piece of art immediately to be mean, I can only imagine the reason is because your level of self-worth is so low that positioning yourself to be above the content creator is a way to reclaim some of that self-worth. And when I think about it in that way, I get a lot more sympathetic, but I don't think they're right, right? I would never do that. Like, because my life is pretty happy, but like an unhappy person wrote this comment, right? And I have to keep that in mind to not feed them, to not respond to the, I mean, I can respond here. They're not watching this. They don't watch my streams. They don't watch, right? They came for the video. It'd be wild if like "Don't be cute" guy followed me here, right?
That's
like,
that'd be crazy. And he just types the same comment again.
yeah, it'd be nuts, dude. Like the people who are leaving these mean comments are not going to follow me to streams, which is why I feel a little more open to talk about comments on stream, but I would never address it in like an actual video. Because I don't want to give these commenters the perception that they hold power over me, that I actually care about what they think.
Yes.
So the correct answer is like you don't fight back, you don't do nothing, you just let it fall off like water under a bridge. Otherwise they get that little dopamine. Like I have changed my environment by causing a person with a following to address me in particular. Right? And I think that's a perspective that doesn't get talked a lot about. Right? I mean, people say, don't feed the trolls or whatever, right? And that's like boilerplate advice. But I think where people stop is understanding the mechanism by which that matters, right? And what matters is that people who are snap commenting on a title to bring you down are looking for a reaction to feel like they have control over something bigger than themselves because they inherently don't have control over their lives. And it's a bummer. That's a sad thing to think about.
They could also be like 14.
Yeah, they could also be children. They could also be children. That is also true.
There's so many children on the internet.
There
like,
are so many children.
It's so weird to think about because like it's now as we inevitably grow older, me as a 60-year-old and you as a, how old are you canonically? Do you have
I die at 24 hours and then I respawn, essentially.
Okay. Got it. So like as a 60-year-old, like you slowly realize this every year, but it's like the internet is just increasingly younger than you. And then eventually you have to realize that there's like a perpetual zone in which most of the activity is being held, and it's by like children. It's literally by children and teenagers, or like extremely young adults who have like no better way to spend their time. Like you're not talking to the brightest minds on earth, probably, when you're responding to something on a Twitter. It's just someone who has so much time to spew so much shit out that like, of course, like they're saying something that's, like not a sensible thing to say, or it's just they're trying to get attention, or they're insecure because they're like teenagers. That's the age for that. And I think like there's a lot of, exactly as you said, right? There's a lot of it that's just trying to fill their, it's them trying to fill their empty void. There was a guy on my stream, I want to say a year ago, and it was not even like a contentious like topical stream I was doing. It was literally just like I was telling anecdotes about like plane travel or whatever, and this guy comes in and says something that's like not immediately obviously sexist. So like the first message I'm like, let's see, let's hang out a bit, and then like 2 messages later it's very clear that there's a misogynist here. I'm like, okay, all right, I have to like talk about this, because, and it wasn't because I was ticked off by it personally, it was because people in my chat were being ticked off, and I was like, okay, that's when I'm like, I have the responsibility to address this. Because if it's a comment on like a video or a stream and nobody else sees it, I'm like, whatever, nobody sees it, that means I don't see it, because you know what, like I can just delete this from the existence of my mind and move on. But if it's like bothering other people, I'm like, okay, now I have to address it. And that's the thing that annoys me, because that is feeding the, not like feeding the troll per se, but it's like it's giving them the thing they want. It's the engagement. And at some point this guy like on the stream was like, you should debate me, you're a philosopher, right? You should debate me. I'm a great debater. I'm a philosopher too. And I'm like, shut up. No, why would you like? It's just, and I think one of the worst parts, one of the most angering parts for me personally, is like this person is coming to me saying these things because they know he knows that it's worked before. He knows that this is something that has given him that like engagement, that satisfaction of being a troll or whatever, and that gives him that validation. And like I first I was obviously angry, but then I was like trying to be sympathetic. I was like, listen, man, you're going about it all wrong. This isn't how you should like. You should go talk to real people. I was trying to give this guy like a real talk, like 1-to-1, and I don't think he was having any of it. He just wanted to debate me for some reason. He was like, "Do you have Discord? Do you have Discord? Hop on Discord. We can go on a call really quickly. It'll just be 5 minutes." And I'm just like, "No, man. I've got like 7 concurrents. What do you want? This is not the platform you want. Go away." He eventually did, because at the time I think I wasn't as trigger happy with like deleting comments from or unsavory comments from people. Now I'm a little looser with the gun. Now I think, okay, maybe 1-2 strikes and you're out, right? But back then I was trying really hard to be lenient because I was like much smaller. And it just like the thing that annoys me the most is like the only reason this person is coming to my stream and doing this is because it's worked. That means there are other people out there who are falling for it. And it's like it annoys me that other people are falling for it, because it's like I can't blame them. Like it's not like, oh, you're a worse person for falling for rage bait. Like I think it's ultimately empathy. Like I'm ultimately trying to I'm trying to help these people out there, other content creators probably, but I'm like, you have to just ignore people who say stupid BS. Like you just have to.
And I think that like I agree with all of that, but in terms of communicating the sentiment to other creators or other people who have a platform, it might, because I was once this type of person too when I was much younger, in terms of like, well, I could, because I fancied myself a little bit of a philosopher myself when I was in high school, thinking that I could outlogic everybody because I had a neckbeard past. Some would say I'm still that redditor that I used to be, right? That the redditor just grew older and wiser, but there is a redditor inside of me. But like, I think when I think about the mechanism of reward, like responding is never the correct thing to do, because it doesn't matter. You could write the most elegant defense, you could write the most poignant thing, and it won't matter, because the fundamental reason why a person would do this to you is so that they can feel control over their lives. And anything you say, it doesn't matter. The fact that you took the time to acknowledge this sad human is enough for that little dopamine hit, that little reward pathway to get a little bit more ingrained, right? That's how you have to think. It's like sensory deprivation, right? A lonely mouse is pulling a lever that it learned to pull to be happy, and this person has no other happy levers to pull. The only happy lever they have left is antagonizing people online, and by responding, by acknowledging it, you are strengthening the dopamine reward pathway in their brains. Whereas if you just don't give them the treat, if they pull the lever and the treat never comes, it could be a terrible treat. It's still going to eat that treat, right? But if you get nothing, that's the only way to kind of extinguish that behavior. Is just like, it's not like, oh, people have not figured out what to say to trolls. That's not the problem, right? When I was young, I was like, well, if I'm smart, so I'm gonna know what to say to trolls. That's not the case. Anytime that sad mouse pushes that lever, if you give them any kind of treat, they're going to pull the lever again. It doesn't matter what treat it is.
I learned that lesson live on stream.
Yeah.
You can't, there's no like perfect thing to say. You actually just have to ignore them. I think it makes me feel a little better that it's like, oh god, I hate using these words unironically. But I hate, like, a part of me thinks, okay, but it wasn't total wasted time because that was content. Because people got to watch me, like, crash out on this one guy on chat who's clearly, like, does not know where his head's at. But, like it's just so, like, I don't know. I think the value added part of it, making me feel like, okay, yeah, it was worth it, is also incredibly messed. Where did you go? Hello?
Oh, I died.
Are you okay? Oh no! It's been 24 hours.
What the heck? What? Where did I go?
It's been 24 hours. Rest in peace. By the Neutrophil. He got hit
Am
by a
I still
bazooka.
voice connected?
You are still. You're back. You're back. You're back. We see you and hear
that
you
was
now.
weird. Okay, very cool.
Somebody asked me, Charis,
back.
did you psychoanalyze your way out of the situation with the master debater? No, I learned the lesson that Phi just relayed to us again, which is like there's no correct answer. There's no correct answer for the troll. Or at least I don't think so, at least. Like I because I tried to look for it on that stream, like live, and probably realized too late that like it's not. There's no correct answer. Just ignore it. Just ban that guy and move on. Just continue telling the anecdote. Talk about the airplane, please. Just anything else. Speaking of pulling a lever.
Yo.
Oh, it's time. I did it. Last time we collaborated, it was on your channel. What were we talking about? We were talking about life.
We were.
And this time we're also talking about life. Every stream we do, we just have to talk about. We have to put life in the title somehow.
Yeah, that's the only way that a collab between a biologist and a philosopher makes any kind of sense.
Mm-mm-mm.
Dude, I'm gonna be so real. I don't want to play Among Us with you. I don't care. I'm not playing a video game with you. Like, our collabs are just gonna be this, and I'm fine.
If we play a video game, it's just gonna be us in the menu, like ranting to each other, and not actually starting the game. There's like a co-op mode for like Slay the Spire 2, right? If we do that, it's going to be that.
It's gonna be the menu. We're gonna open up the like merchant and then just stare at the merchant. I don't care about. Yeah, whatever. Yeah, continue. Biology, life, this is what our collabs should be, I think. Because I am not an entertaining person either way. Like outside of this format, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, levers being pulled.
Sorry, where was I? I'm trying to think. Levers being pulled. So last time we were collabing, yes, that's where I was at. Last time we were collabing, I talked about how the trolley prompt video was in progress, and it was, I was almost done with it, and truth be told, I wasn't. I lied. I thought, or at least I lied to myself. I don't think I lied to you. I lied to myself in that, like, I really thought it was like close to completion at that point in time, because I underestimated all the work that would go into it, like, since that point. Because I was like, oh, I just have to do these two things, and then like I just have to edit the video, and then it's done, right? Like, it was what I thought in my head. I was like, I have it all planned out. I think I know what to do. I just need to edit it. How much time could that take? Oh boy.
You absolute fool.
Because, I'd never done a video essay before. I spent a lot of time on YouTube in my younger years, when I was like in my younger 40s or whatever. I was watching YouTube videos, watching the video essays, learning from the masters of the craft, and so even though it wasn't my goal to eventually produce a video essay, I felt like it was always in like that bucket list of like, I should probably just make one because I've been exposed to it so much that surely I could recreate it, right? But then I never thought about making a video essay for the sake of it. I was always in my head thinking like, okay, if the perfect moment comes, I'll do it, but otherwise I'll just like leave it be. And I think the perfect moment arrived. I wish I'd done it by then, so I could, we could have had this conversation sooner on your stream, but we're having it here now, on this stream, and it is still a live stream. All the streams we do are going to be about life in some way. And
probably. I
am very proud of it. I'm very happy with it. I'm wondering quickly, what do you think?
Hold on. Give me. Can you vamp a bit longer? I'm trying to pull up my own analytics for.
Okay.
Because I'm gonna respond to you in a second, but
okay. Because I really for the longest time, and I previewed this to you in our collab when I was like, okay, there's. Essentially, I spoiled kind of the big part of the video, which was like, at some point I stopped talking about the trolley and I kind of just turned to you, the viewer, and I go like, what are you doing? What are you doing with your life?
Okay.
And that is such a big transition that like needed to happen in that I can't imagine the video existing in any other way. It's so core and it's so central to it that like you have to do that because it's a video about making choices. Ultimately, that's what that is. And I think the most important choices that one has made in that moment is to sit down and watch that video. And surely one must be able to question.
I pulled up my own analytics. Okay.
Yes.
So
okay.
Your trolley problem. Okay, we'll talk about some numbers here. Okay, let's talk about some numbers in terms of prefacing my opinion on your trolley problem video. Okay.
Okay.
Your first real video essay. Can you give me a quick reminder? How many views did it get in a week?
It was like it's just like 5.6K, I think.
You know how over the equivalent period of time my first piece of content for YouTube got? How many views?
How many views did it get?
Just guess. Guess a number.
Okay, well, it's probably lower because you're trying to make the comparison. But like, because initially I was gonna say 10K, but I was like, so if I take that bit of information into account, 1,000.
88.
88.
88.
88 views.
Okay, I want to be very clear for anybody who is doing YouTube, right? Like, okay, metrics are not everything, I have a fundamental belief that the algorithm is fair in its judgment. And that's controversial because people love blaming the algorithm. But the algorithm was handcrafted to a certain degree by greedy CEOs whose primary function was to keep your attention, right?
Yep.
And there's a lot of denialism on social media about, the algorithm shadow banned me, my content is good, but people don't watch it. And having been a struggling creator for, I had my first like really big hit not that long after starting, but then I had like a huge drought where nothing I did seemed to move the needle in either way. So I think I've seen like, I didn't have immediate viral success. So I've had both sides of like algorithm was good to me on this video, algorithm was bad to me in this video. And to me, that's always been a very fair assessment in terms of, am I doing something right? Am I doing something wrong? Because at the end of the day, what the greedy CEOs want is for people to click on your thing and watch as much of it as possible so they can cram as many ads as physically possible into your video, right?
Yes.
That's just what the algorithm is there for.
Yeah.
So the fact that your first real entry into Video Essay Dumb did 5,000 views, to me is quite impressive, which means as a piece of traditional content, it was quite good.
Thank you.
And that's like probably what you're least concerned about because it is in part an anti piece of content. But I was watching the video, I'm like, damn, this is the production value. You got subtitles on the stupid thing. Your sound design is actually quite good.
Thank you.
You might notice that I've given up putting music in my videos entirely. It's just my voice now. I only add a sound effect if I think it'll be funny or add something because I personally don't have the ear for sound design. There's some music that I will sing in my next video that's hopefully coming out tomorrow or the day
you'll
after.
Sing?
Yeah, it's a very short ditty that I wrote just to be funny, right? I like writing these like little things of music just to add a bit of character and flourish to what I'm doing. But like picking a song and calibrating the decibel levels, I'm like dog water at all of that. And I think you did it very well. It felt very natural. I remember I was cooking and I had that video in the background and looking over it occasionally, just being like, this is a video essay. Damn it. If this is something, it's a video essay. Like it was quite good. I think the choice to have that. So let me back up in terms of to take the opportunity to talk about the framing of how I think about art, because I think about art a lot, because I think art and content are actually different things, right? I don't know if we talked about this before. Have we talked about this before?
I think we probably like mentioned it, but not gone in detail.
Probably not on your channel. I think we first talked about it on my channel. I think art is self-expression. It means whatever is in your heart, you put onto paper. Craft is what happens when you take that idea and then you make it for other people, right? I think these are very two cleanly defined, separate ideas when it comes to making content, right? So the illustration that I use quite often is a child, like a 4-year-old. You hand them a crayon, they're gonna draw mommy, they're gonna draw daddy. Why? It's because that child loves mommy, loves daddy. Children are only capable of art. They're not capable of craft. They don't know 3-point perspective. They don't know color wheel theory, right? They have a song in their heart and they sing it. That's the purest form of art, is a child drawing mommy and daddy and a dog or whatever, you know?
But fine, wouldn't
So-
it be better if we just took that image of that child's drawing and then processed it through ChatGPT so that it could improve upon it?
Yes! Optimize children's art!
Sorry, what were you saying?
So that's how I'm defining art versus craft, right?
Yes.
And I think I could tell, like sound design, that's craft, right?
Mm.
The part where you have a white background and you're yelling at the audience, that's art. That's something that you wanted to do, right?
Yeah.
That's like that came from inside of you. You didn't make that as a cynical decision for retention, because that's such a huge gamble to have nothing on screen and just yell at an audience.
Yes.
So art is always going to be a risk, because I think art is a manifestation of your unique personal fingerprint, right? Like, it is something that you wanted to do because of your accumulated experiences and perspectives on the world that cannot be replicated by, like, ChatGPT would never do that in a video, right? You say, make me a video about the trolley problem. You put that into the prompt. It would never say, okay, for 6 minutes, we're going to have a white background as the narrator gets sweatier over time, right?
It's content suicide. It is, because it's like that's exactly how you lose people, if done
Exactly.
improperly, at least.
But there's an effect that has on people that I presume that you thought about, because having no visual is unnerving.
Yes.
And it would have failed if your narration weren't compelling. If it were normal, you know, like in the same register as a typical video essay, people are clicking off, right? So it is in some ways a piece of craft, because it is a calculated gamble in terms of, I hope people actually do sit through me yelling at them about the trolley problem or about content and engagement. But it is also art because there's a feeling that you wanted to express that came from deep within you, which is, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, I want to shake you out of your stupor, right?
Yes. Yes.
I would like to shake you out of your comfortable video essay, second monitor, the buzz of
having
dragonflies.
lunch.
Yeah, I'm having lunch. I'm not thinking too critically. That deliberate decision, the craft involved to make that an element of your video, you know, it took the form around the art, which is, there's something about me where I believe that I can make you feel the way that I need you to feel. And that's a very human connection. And I think that was a brave and interesting decision. And again, F you for having 5K on your first video where mine got 88.
Surprisingly, that's
fair.
not where the attention drop off was. That was actually, like, I looked at the stats and obsessed over them a little bit.
Of course, it is YouTube after all.
Yes, and that's not where. Do you want to guess where the attention kind of dropped off?
It's been a while since I watched the video, so I actually don't remember.
Yeah, it's
like
fine,
the white screen is the most compelling part of the video, which is why it sticks out to me.
Yeah. It's actually the bit right before that, or maybe not right before that, but like the section before that, where, because the first bit is the introduction to the trolley, right? It's going like, you know, hey, here's Philip Foot's paper. It was about abortion. Did you know that? It's really interesting. And you know what's interesting? I've only gotten one comment on that video, or two. I think one or two comments that actually tried to start a debate on abortion. It's interesting. I overestimated how many of those comments I would get. Like, it was only two, which is really surprising. Only two people did not actually watch the video. But like the fall off point was not during the fun intro. It wasn't during the interesting context. It was actually when I got to the core of the paper. That was the bit where I was like, this is the academic integrity. I could gloss over these details, but I think it would not do it justice to say that, oh, these are the origins of the trolley problem. I talk about the original paper, and then not actually spend a good amount of time talking about the arguments presented in the original paper, disregarding their irrelevance to the trolley, because they're completely irrelevant to the trolley problem. Their problems, their moral dilemmas, situated in a very specific context, in a very specific part of a debate on abortion in a very specific period of time. And so it's like I had to explain all those things and then get into the roots of the argument. And when I was doing it, I was like, this is the most boring part of the video for me too. And that I think that frustration led to like almost the rant at the end when I was writing that, because I was like, I feel like I'm only doing this so if anyone who actually is a philosophy major or somebody who, you know, has looked into the paper themselves, and I just believe that nobody like that exists and is also watching YouTube, because if you couldn't enjoy reading all like an academic paper at that level, then you know what, you probably wouldn't enjoy YouTube very much. I don't know, I imagine I'm making assumptions, but like the fall off point for attention was there because that was the part that was academically rigorous. Everything prior to that, I would say, was relatively easy. It was the content, it was the consumption of it, and everything after was the art of it. It was like the me trying to say something bit of it. And the part that fell off was, okay, if I had to hand this to a professor, this is what I would do.
Yeah, I think that is the challenge, right? Like if I were to impose my own framing onto myself, it's like my art is that I want you to feel like the way I felt in graduate school when I was learning all these amazing things. And the craft is, how do I take academically rigorous content and make it appealing to you? And that's not easy. If I were being very cynical, I could make 8,000 Prion videos and have each one be scarier than the last. Oh, it eats your brains, turns your brain to sponge, right? You know, whatever. I could do it the same way as everybody else who makes a video on rabies or the Prion. But like, you know, if, you know, my art is, I want you to actually engage with the actual, like, real science, like the real stuff that people are reading in my field and not a top line summary. So it doesn't surprise me because I also have stuff like that where it's like, oh, you know, I got a little too nerdy here and lost people. But I think it's like, unless you are trying to be Mr. Beast, where all you care is about retention, like the fact that people get filtered by the academic part is not necessarily the worst thing. And like, I do get the feeling that you had to get that to preempt the comments that you would get in response, because I do the same thing, right? There was a, you know, when I was working on that abiogenesis video, there was a part in the script where I had said inorganic phosphate when I meant to say insoluble phosphate, and I was like, oh god, can I just ignore this? And then the errors started to pile up, and then I had to re-record the entire 70 minutes in my stupid closet because I was like, there's some YouTuber out there who's gonna be like, this is so annoying. And that's the kind of content, that's the kind of comment where I'd be like, yeah, I get it, right? Like to preempt the kind of, you know, you didn't do your homework comments takes up a lot. And like, I could ignore them, it wouldn't affect retention. But part of the art is that like, I want you to feel like I have exhausted your mental capability, right? I want you to feel like any question that you may wanted an answer for, that you got, up until you start thinking about more and more abstract questions that I cannot answer. And at that point, I will have done my job already, you know? So I think we are aligned in our desire to make content that is essentially reaching through the screen and like shaking shoulders.
It's necessary. Tyler asks, Charis, would you say the trolley video was a potato chip or broccoli? I would say it's poisoned cake. I've thought about the food analogy so much because like throughout and during the process, after the process, now that I'm reflecting on it as well, it is poisoned cake because it's supposed to have the veneer of like, it's supposed to look like cake, it's supposed to smell like cake. And not only is it supposed to like just look like cake, it's supposed to look like really delicious cake. Like that red arrow, the red font, and the lowercase.
You were really good with that.
That's all the cake. That's me doing the icing on it. That's me like crafting the cake. That's me like baking it. That's me doing all of those things to make it look nice and pretty. And then the 10 minutes, like the first 10 minutes of the video, and especially the first intro bit where I sync up like the words with the music beats, or like with the music beats on the screen, and then like popping in the VHS sound and then playing that clip from The Good Place. I'm like, that is you taking a bite of the cake and going like, oh my god, I love this cake, this is awesome, nom 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 nom. And then like 14 minutes later the poison kicks in and you're like, what the hell, I have a stomach ache, what's happening, why am I having such a violent reaction? And I haven't thought this analogy through yet, but I think like towards the end, it's like, then the cake makes you throw up, and you realize you'd ingested like I don't know, actual poison or something. I don't know. I haven't thought that far.
It makes you reject cake.
Yes, yes, and it makes you realize, oh my god, cake's not that good actually. I've been just mindlessly consuming cake. And hopefully you thank the poisonous cake for that. I don't know. I don't know if you do. I don't think people did. I think I made it so uncomfortable, and like it was intentional. Towards the end, that I made it so uncomfortable to do any of the actions, like the subscribing and the liking of the video and the like the ringing of the bell. I was like, I need to include that in there in the most discomforting way, so that weirdly I want so when I was making the video, I was like, I want this video to have a lot of views and no engagement. I want a lot
you
of
want to
views.
be botted.
Yeah, no, like I want I think I wanted like comments maybe for like people to just discuss how they felt about it, but nothing else. Like I did not want like people to like it. I did not want a wave of subscribers. It's like I can't wait for more content. Like I didn't want that at all, because I felt like that would have taken away way too much the point I was trying to make. Cause like it's, I don't know, it part of the piece is because it's a piece of anti-content. It cannot inevitably try to, or maybe not try to, it can't also have the same effects of content. Like it's got to create some sort of change in behavior in the viewer. Otherwise, I'm just doing a fancy self-aware version of what every other bit of content is doing. Like you can be Deadpool and make a bunch of self-aware jokes about the Marvel really is milking the MCU and really bringing back all those actors, and then bring like, you know, Wolverine on the screen. And it's like you can make as many of those jokes as you want and be super self-aware, but you're still doing the thing. And like it just, I don't know, that unnerves me to no end as well. And I decided against it.
I think it's really interesting as a scientist to, I mean, that's such a stuck-up way to put it. You don't have to be a scientist, but in terms of like defining an experiment and the goals of the experiment, you know, we're taught you should have a readout that you can predict, right? Like, if here is the expectation that I have for the effect that I want to create, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's very interesting to. I get what you mean by like if you had conventional success off of this video, it would feel wrong because then it just gets reduced to a piece of content like everything else online, right?
Mm-hmm.
That being said, I like in terms of like I wonder if you thought about the consequences of if the video did do like viral level numbers, in terms of like, what would you say to a viewer who came fresh from the trolley problem video who wanted more of that content? Because that inevitably puts you into this one-off video about the trolley problem where they experienced this new, let's be real, it's a form of content to be anti-content, right?
Is,
like
it
can be, right? If I think the very virtue of somebody looking at that video and go, I would like to see Charis do more of that video. Your content now, no matter how much, you know, there's an incentive. And I'm wondering,
multiple comments that are like exactly this point, right? There are multiple comments that are like, oh my god, I love this guy yelling at, I didn't expect this guy to yell at me, but I love it. I can't wait. Subscribed. I can't wait to see more. And I'm like, it's just
exactly. Like, what are you planning to do with that? Because I'm a very conventional YouTuber, right? I want your likes, I want your comments, I want your subscribes.
Which
My
I think is
ad revenue
entirely
depends
fair.
on it. But like, I could tell that your goal is different than the goal that I have. So in that position, how do you think about, if are you going to make another video, right? That's an interesting point. Like, do you think you have it in you? Do you think it would be content? Do you think it would be another attempt at anti-content, but because now there is an expectation for you to be making anti-content, that it inevitably wraps back around to just becoming content again? Like, have you thought about what impact this will have on the rest of what you do?
Oh my god, that's all I've been thinking about. So you asked,
yeah,
a
it's
really
an interesting
good question.
position.
It's because you're right in that it's very anti-content, and it's like if I were not careful and I just did more of this where it's like it's a 10-minute yummy cake and then it's the same poison again at the end, then it becomes the content. Then people have come to my store for poison cake. They didn't come for cake. They came for poison cake. They wanted the reaction, and then they moved on with their lives. The sour candy, the sourness of the sour candy is no longer like difficult. It is now just another sweet. And I don't want that, rather. Maybe not did not. And when I was making this video, I wasn't thinking that. All I was thinking was like, this just needs to be perfect. I was like, this is my magnum opus. Okay, I do every detail correctly, and there are still things I nitpick about it. Even now that it's out, but you know, I'll forget those points for now. But like, when I was making it, I was just like, this is just needs to be the most perfect thing ever. I make one video and then never again. And the temptation of making more content is calling to me every day. It's like, hey, you know, if you put your mind to it, you could make banger content that people would love, and then you would get more subscriptions, and then maybe that would actually be, you know, monetizable and something that you could market, and then you could make this could be a side hustle. Maybe you wouldn't have to work so hard in the in the 2 jobs you work right now. Like, it's whispering into my ears. And I think the less corpo cynical part of me is also echoing a similar sentiment, because it's not saying, okay, you should make more content so you can make more views and money or whatever, but it's like, surely you want to say more things because you like when people listen to you. And I'm like, oh shit. That's true. I did like those comments. I did feel so much pride when I saw the comments that were like, I loved this video. This was a work of art. Somebody said this was not a video essay. This is performance art. It's like, that's such a good like ego boost. I'm like, you know what? Maybe I should say, maybe there is more to talk about. And so the challenge I've put for myself now unintentionally is I've written myself into a corner. How do I write myself out of it? And so yes.
You actually taught me a little bit about philosophy when we first talked behind the scenes, that I've been thinking about as a potential antidote for this kind of dilemma.
Okay.
You had described to me 2 branches of philosophy way back when. One where it is written much like how a scientist would write, with clear words and a logical flow. Yes. And then bat crazy, we'll just say that. I'm still trying not to curse to get into like, I don't want to fall into the habit of cursing and then curse on my own channel. I get that. There are the other philosophers who are bat crazy, who are telling completely unrelated stories as like analogies to their philosophical point. And to me, as someone who greatly appreciates concise writing and I feel like I don't need like a subversive thing to like get philosophy, at least the philosophy that I'm interested in. I'm wondering if that's an avenue for this kind of anti-content content, because it's sustainable in the sense where if you come up with a wacko story art film every time, even though it is anti-content, it is still going to be engaging in every way. Because if people see the twist, right now, people who have subscribed to you see the twist of the blank screen old man yelling at clouds, as someone in your chat has pointed out as your genre. They're going to expect that twist. But if you just start off with an art house film every time, there's no way they can predict what's going to happen, right? Like, I'm wondering what you think about that. And I don't know what the words for those 2 branches are. If you could remind me what they are. Cool.
But you've described them pretty much, at least the way I've described them to you. So if anything there was wrong, it was because I described it incorrectly. But it was the analytic tradition of philosophy versus the continental tradition of philosophy. And both obviously have their merits. I've been trained in both senses. And like, I gravitate more towards writing one and gravitate towards reading another. Which is interesting because anyways, you're absolutely right in that like the solution seems to be make everything an art house film. But I don't think everything should be anti-content. I think I've said everything I needed to say about anti-content, because it all has been expressed, I would say, adequately in the trolley video. Like, that was me. It was ultimately, I was raising my fist against the idea of content, and so everything subsequently should also reach through the screen and shake the audience, shake the viewer. I think, but it shouldn't be done so in a way that's like, you are watching a YouTube video. It's so meta. Stanley Parable. Stanley Parable. Stanley Parable. I've had so many comments. They're like, this is just like the Stanley Parable, which is like, it's nice. It's like, I had a whole like bell curve effect meme on this. It's not the actual way a bell curve should be read, but it's like the meme version of that, right? Where it's in the beginning of the bell curve, I'm like, oh, I love like that people are saying it's like the Stanley Parable because it's like my favorite game and my inspiration. And then the middle, I was stuck in the middle with all of my angst for a while, going like, no, they're gonna think that I'm just copying my thing from this like art, this other piece of media that I liked, and I'm just like shamelessly reproducing it, but it's different because it exists in a different context. That was a video game you had to buy in like 2013. This is a video in like contemporary 2026 where you're just clicking through other videos and it's like you didn't expect it, and like you didn't click into the video having been told, oh, it's a really funny video or it's a really serious video. You just like clicked on it mindlessly, and the mindlessness of it was the thing that's very commented on. And like, you know, like none of those things could have existed in the Stanley Parable in the same way. I'm not saying I superseded it by all means, but I am saying I did something entirely different that hopefully stands on its own and is maybe not going to be as good, but at least up there. And like all of that is like me going like, did I just not do it good enough? Should I have like tried a different method? Should I have sounded less like the narrator from the Stanley Parable? And then I had that crisis for like, I want to say 3-4 days. Then I went back to like the other end of the bell curve and I was like, they just like this media that reminds them of existential choice. And this video is about existential choice. So they said, hey, this thing I like is like this other thing I like. That's it. That's all they said. Calm down, Charis.
I wonder, do you have like an ideal endpoint for your viewer experience? Like for me, for example, the typical thing that I want my viewer to experience is at the end of the video, they feel like I've done a very complete and thorough job, and hopefully it's understandable. But like the feeling that I want to leave them with is exhaustion. Like my content is to exhaust your mental facilities to really get you to learn, as opposed to prion, scary, brain die, right? That's like not very engaging, like intellectually. It's engaging in terms of it's scary. You know, all like the viruses I talk about are scary, but by engagement, I mean, I need you to get on the graduate level of understanding because the puzzles that you solve in science are worth the effort, and I'm trying to get you to put in the effort to understand the science puzzles. But do you have like, so for that trolley problem video, would the ideal situation be, oh, that was a good video, I'm gonna really think about this, and then never come back to your channel?
I think there's like so what's interesting before I get into this question actually is like the way I think your response is interesting because I see a parallel between your approach and my approach to like content on YouTube in general, because when you say that exhaustion that you kind of want to leave the viewer with, it feels very like aligned with the kind of the agenda of scientific education. Is that fair to say? I think because it's very much like you want to train people to be scientists. Is that like the word? Are those the right words?
Yeah, so
you want to cultivate scientists from people who are not scientists, or scientists into better scientists.
People always say, we should really be teaching the children critical thinking, but you know what nobody has an opinion about? Nobody has any idea. These Reddit threads make me so mad. We need to be teaching critical thinking. Okay, tough guy. How? Tough guy? How would you teach critical thinking? What does that mean to you? What does that look like? The people who are so passionate about the idea of implementing critical thinking in schools have no solutions for this.
Yes.
Right? They themselves are not critically thinking about critical thinking. I am thinking. I am a self-absorbed narcissistic person who believes in himself to a delusional degree, and I think I can do it. How do I do it? It's by making Dora the Explorer, but for scientists, right? Like I started doing this segment called You Be the Scientist in my videos.
I love those segments.
I provide people the entirety of the scientific context to find all the jargon. I've given you the puzzle pieces. I just need you to put them together, right? That's critical thinking. But that's like a facsimile of critical thinking. That's the best I can do from this one-way interaction where I can't tell you you're wrong, right? But like in terms of, yeah, so that's how I would describe my approach is giving the viewer the pieces, and you only get the treat when you when you attempt to put the puzzle together. Because even if you don't put it together, if you tried, that mental exertion is what is valuable. And yeah, I do agree that is a parallel. You don't want your content to be second monitor, I'm eating lunch and forgetting about this video after the tab ends or auto plays the next thing that pops up, top 100 Pokemon, you know, like whatever, right? You want that impression, that challenge, that hiccup, right? There should be friction. There should be friction when you are learning or getting better. It should not be easy, which is a terrible YouTube strategy that encourages mindless engagement onto the next thing, autoplay. But it is in our belief, in our audience, that makes this a potentially viable source of income, right? And our business models would differ, right? I think I'm small farm right now, right? Small local farm, no subsidies from the government. And I think you're probably the same way, right? There's an audience for locally grown fresh produce, but I think there's a hard cap. If we're not trying to be Mr. Beast, we're not going to be Monsanto, right? Does that kind of make sense?
I think like, I feel like it's, hopefully I'm not giving you too much credit. I think that's the way to do science content.
That's what Hank Green said in a recent video about monetization of the SciShow like brand. He had mentioned that, you know, they're selling these coins that viewers can buy to fund the SciShow projects because ad revenue isn't enough, which makes a lot of sense because ad revenue, as someone who gets ad revenue, not that great unless your numbers are really big. That's why I plug my Patreon, YouTube membership, you know, these ways that I'm like, okay, my content is free for everybody. Everybody can have a free sample, but like, if you want to support your local farmer, why not, like, you know, like, and I have to believe that, yeah, it feels bad to like, you know, it's not really e-begging because I'm not like, there's no
you're providing
involved.
something like, out there,
yeah,
and you're asking for support, which I think is very different from like, you know, what people would call e-begging, which is just not doing anything and just asking with like a,
exactly,
you know, nothing of substance.
But it's like, I have to believe that there are people like your audience, like my audience out there, that hopefully will continue to grow, of people who like the idea and feeling of mental exhaustion, who don't want to be, you know, single trail of drool down the corner of the mouth, top 200 Pokemon auto plays, you know, like I'm so mean to that kind of content, but I also watch that content, right? That's,
oh yeah,
you know, I'm not exempt from it. We've said this multiple times. We're not better, right? We're not better as consumers. I'm still single drool. I love slop too. It's hard not, slop was designed to get you hooked. It is the potato chip. But it's just like, I have to hope that there are enough people who like broccoli to support what we do, right? That kind of makes sense to me.
I think it does, and I think the way it works in my head is like, this is scientific, and I don't think and I'm not saying scientific is bad at all, because I think it's awesome, but I'm not like a scientist. I'm a philosopher. I keep telling myself this, and the way philosophers do this is they really do write one book and then vanish, or they write like 15 books, 20 books, nobody reads them at all. They die alone and sad and unrecognized, and then maybe like 50 years later, people start reading their books and go like, wow, this guy was cooking. And there's no success story for a philosopher. There's no like happy ending. I can't think of like a really big philosopher who was someone who was able to retire in fame and fortune and recognition, most importantly, recognition and approval from peers and from people in the field who respected them, because it's always gone down in a sinking ship, and it's just like battle after battle with your contemporaries and trying to fight over lecture spaces among students. And it's like, it's to capture that, I think, is necessary and important for me to express myself as a philosopher. But at the same time, it's like, I really am just saying I'll make one video and then never do another thing again. Which is like, you know, maybe I should write like 10 more books and then let them fade into obscurity, and then 100 years later someone will pick them up. I think that you speak of like a huge ego and narcissism. I'm going to hopefully match you on that and say that I have an unironic belief that eventually in the future, because of the way, like, you know, information can be preserved nowadays, someone will just dig up Charis Euphranor VODs or like Charis Euphranor videos and appreciate it and be like, wow, this guy was really ahead of his time. And there's gonna be like a video essay titled and they can put this clip in that video essay. There's gonna be a video essay titled like the philosopher you'd never, or like, what was it, the first anime philosopher, I don't know, maybe something along those lines. It's just like just some sort of pretentious title to get people clicking, and then it'll briefly go through my content and then like basically just regurgitate the points I'm making about my own content and just say that as if they made those observations, and then get like 100,000 views on that video, and then I'll never be talked about again.
Here's the thing. Like, I knew from like the first conversation we had together before we collabed for the very first time that like we were gonna get along. Like, I think we are two egomaniacs. Like, it's crazy. And like this is so funny because I like, you know, I think a lot of people would view, and this is why like on my channel, I'm not as honest, right? I say I have a big ego, but I don't really show it as often on my channel. I think I'm doing something great. I believe in myself fully, right? I have like fantasies about winning grants and all of these things and getting to go to VidCon and shaking, you know, Michael Vsauce's hand. You know, I have these
Put me in
fantasies.
The picture as well.
Yeah.
And then edit my face after.
Brown paper bag, bro. Brown paper bag.
But
no,
yes.
I I think a lot of people, when they hear that level of self-belief, are like, who does this guy think he is, right? And that's why I'm very careful with who I express this narcissism to, because there are going to be people of like, oh, you think you're hot, like mid-tier, languishing in mid-tier YouTube, right? There are plenty of people who are willing to check my ego, and I understand that. But I think that one of the most beautiful parts about living life, I think there's something like Zizek had said something to this effect of, you know, one of the greatest virtues you can do in life is to throw your entire heart into something and suck at it, right? And this is a similar idea where like, I think it is the most fun that I've ever had being this high off of my own ego, right? I think the awareness of this is also important, right? Like, I know the expectations I have for myself are not reflected in my numerical success, right? I'm like, oh, I sure hope I get my silver play button next year, but I'm not entirely sure it'll happen. But when I started the channel, I was like, I'm gonna get a silver play button. I'm not gonna stop doing this until I get one. Why? It's not because I'm better than anybody. It is because I have full confidence that when I love something, that I will work at it no matter how painful it is, because it is more painful to not have something that you love this dearly than it is to fail at it. Does that make sense? Like, I love this so much that it would kill me to stop.
Yes.
And that pain is more dire than failure by whatever metric of failure you have, right? So that is why I say, like, I have this delusional belief in myself that stems from this idea that I, like, cannot fail. Not that, like, I'm denying the existence of failure, but my criteria of failure are such that I do not consider anything to be a failure. And that is why my ego is so high, right? You can't bring me down because in my belief system, there is no down. I'm awesome.
It's literally that Thanos quote that to Loki, I think, in Infinity War, that's like, is it Infinity War? You consider failure experience? And he says, and he retorts by saying, I consider experience.
Yeah.
It is experience. Failure is experience, and I consider it not as failure, but as experience. In every sense of the word failure, I would say.
there's also like that like I know that your self-confidence, your self-worth is high, like genuinely high because of the thing you said about being ugly. Right? It's like you had an well, to you, again, I have
Yeah,
never
yeah.
seen you. You could be perfectly average, but you
Mm,
had presumably an accurate self-image of your starting stats, right?
mm,
Like you understand face card, not one of the strengths. Strengths, communication, ability to ask interesting questions, ability to engage, pretentious artistry.
yeah. I was gonna say like no pretension at all. But
But
yes,
like
yeah.
that, like having an accurate self-awareness of the things that make you unique and an interesting person is far more valuable than having raw stats across the board, right? If you are not aware of the tools that you have in your deck, how can you play Slay the Spire? I keep on coming back to the roguelike idea.
Mm,
But like, um, I think that I don't know if this is too hard of a transition into talking about students, but
mhm.
like I have had students, I taught at like a very good university. So their stats are incredible across the board, but just
Yes.
no awareness of their own capability, right?
Mm,
They're just like zero awareness of how they study, how they think. Just they were good at soaking up information because they're young people and soak up information like sponges. And then when they come into a university environment and actually get challenged, all of a sudden they crumble. Like every
mhm,
one of my students at 19 years old was smarter than me at 26. Like I
mhm.
know this. And that's not because I think I'm dumb. It's just these kids were little genius babies. Like every single one of these kids is a little genius baby, but they just couldn't do the work.
Mm,
And does that kind of like do you get I could continue ranting if you
no,
need
it,
a
it
little
is
more.
it is like I wanted to bring another analogy other than the Slay the Spire
Yeah.
one to say that it's like a stand in JoJo, like JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, where I
Yeah.
would much rather watch a smart user with a very weak but like niche stand than someone who has like an
Yeah.
all powerful like my stand warps reality. I don't care that it warps reality. I want to see what the guy whose stand is like on a Tuesday, if it's raining in the morning, it gets to like interact with the lights in a specific way to cast like an illusion for like 3 minutes. I want to know what that guy's thinking and how this person's gonna beat like the Stardust Crusaders and almost like and put them in a pickle. Like that's what I want to see. I want to see the weaker the stand, and like in really just in most like superpower based like media, shonen media that like I've consumed at least, I'm like the weaker the power, the more interesting the character is. And to me, I'm like
Yeah.
that's not like okay, well their power is weaker, therefore they're a weaker hero or whatever. It's like no, their power is less, OP, and because of that, they've had to be smarter. They've had to learn how to use their power, how to leverage that in a specific way. I guess we can bring it back to the students then. Like, and I have my own thoughts on the rant, but I think I want to let you cook on this more
Yeah.
because I feel as though as like it really is. I did go into school with the genius babies, and it's like the worst part is I kind of was a genius baby, but like I wasn't a genius baby in like I didn't roll high in like memory or like processing or like even like pure reasoning. I rolled high in like persuasion. And so my genius babiness was like I can utilize my persuasion to like come across smarter than I actually am, and then that puts me in positions where I actually get to like interact with people who got there by like not like by being honest in that sense, but like in not being able to present themselves or package themselves. And so I had a pretty good stat line, but I played my stat line to get into where I eventually got into. Whereas most of the people around me, they didn't play their stats. They just kind of rolled into the game, so to speak. I don't know how to
Well,
how else to
okay,
put it.
so again, I was like my brother is just another me. I would also say that like I have a minor in like rhetoric and writing, right? That's because I love communication. I love you know, and communication is more than just putting words together. It's understanding your audience, it's understanding yourself as well, right? It is the
Mhm.
foundation of art as a text form, right? And I also agree. I got into an incredible graduate school based purely off of like my essays were good and I could talk as if I knew what I was talking about. But like raw intelligence, raw reasoning, raw memory, my memory is like really bad, much lower. But I would say that like the persuasion stat is also intertwined with self-awareness, because in order to make an argument compelling, you need to have an awareness of what the other person wants to hear or what the other person believes needs to believe for you to have some level of trust, right? So in terms of my awareness, right, and yes, I am calling out you, King, specifically on your poor study habits, because it is more than just that. Like, I taught at a university for several years. Again, some of the brightest minds in our country. It is, and I feel this so strongly about this because I have a huge chip on my shoulder, right? I applied to this Uber university as an undergraduate and as a graduate student, and I got rejected both times. And then on the third application, I got in as a teacher. So I got to teach all these little genius babies that have taken my spot at this university. So like, there's this idea of like, I shouldn't bring that kind of baggage into the classroom, but I do.
I mean, it's unavoidable. Like, you can't just forget the whole of your history and your like, academic pursuits and be like, I'm just a teacher now. No, you bring your own person into it.
Like, I remember walking these halls when I was your age and hoping desperately I would get into this university, and you are here messing it all up, right? the majority
they'll
of
let
my
anyone
students,
in these days.
no, but the thing is that I know they rolled super high in intelligence. Like, I know they're really, really smart, right?
Yes.
Like, far smarter than me at the equivalent age, and I can't do anything about the feelings themselves. They're not gonna just go away because I want them to go away. It's better to just accept that they happen and let it flow over you when those feelings occur. But where it gets, I think, like rant territory, something that I wanted to get off of my chest. And now that I've been away from that university, I can talk a little bit more about students because I've been very hush hush in case I ever got discovered. But now here comes the tea, okay? Majority of my students, fantastic scholars, right? Really, really smart, catch on, do all the work. And then there would be some students who would just not submit their assignments, who would just submit like one figure in an assignment that was 10 questions long. Students that would not submit work on time or contribute to projects and just not do the work. And it would make me so mad, like so mad. And I have to say, before I get too much further, I am aware of learning disabilities. I am aware of depression. I am aware of adverse life experiences. So before anybody goes, you're the worst teacher ever. You don't care about students. You are so ununderstanding of how hard it is to be a student. You didn't even think about their well-being. You didn't think about their well-being, right? Like, okay. Yeah. Okay. At my very well-funded university, the second you get a C in any assignment, there are like 8 different emails that get sent out to 8 different adults who are all there to support you, right? There's like an undergraduate committee that checks up on you. Hey, is everything all right? There's your advisor that checks up on you. Hey, is everything all right? Your teachers get notified. Hey, is everything all right? Every adult in the university gets notified when you do even a little poorly, okay? And everybody's like, how can we help? How can we help? Do you need more time? Do you need more accommodation? Like, can we hook you up with some mental health resources? Like, there's an overwhelming outpouring of, we want you to do well. And we will bend over backwards to make sure that you pass this class. It's not, without lowering the rigor, right? Like, there are some universities out there that have a reputation for grade inflation, right? Everybody gets an A. We don't have grade inflation. Our grade inflation is very stable across the years of this university. Instead of bringing the curve up, giving everybody an A, we want to empower every student to do as well as possible by giving them as many resources as possible. And there would still be students who would fall through the cracks. And that drove me up the wall. Yes, I see ADHD. Yes, like, there are several different committees that we had at university that worked with students who needed accommodations or something, right? And you had a certain number of free sessions that you could have with a mental health care professional provided to you by your tuition that you could use. I don't remember the number, but they were there, right? There are advocacy boards to argue on your behalf in case you need a board to help argue against the professor. Like there was a crazy amount of support for these students. Like, you know what happens when I got a C when I went to undergraduate? Like what my reaction would have been?
You gotta suck it up.
I'm bad.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like I got a C in biophysics. That's my fault. I'm not good at biophysics. I'm not good at math, right?
Get good.
There was no like adult in the room being like, "Oh, like, do you need help? Like, do you like?"
This really is creeping into our kids these days. They don't know. Back in my day,
they don't know, dude. They don't know.
I had to walk 10 miles.
I had to just eat my bad grades. I couldn't have a whole undergraduate body legislate on my behalf to argue about a grade, right?
I had to check out books from the library. We didn't have search engine.
All right, let's not go that far, okay? I just use PDFs, okay?
No, but I think there's something real in what you're saying for sure, because it's like I think it is definitely like a good thing that we have those support systems in place, and they need to exist. I think it's good that they exist now.
Hold up. I need to address something in chat because
yes.
You know, there's a comment that says pick yourself up by your bootstraps, chat. No. At my university, we are lowering the bootstraps for you. We just need you to step in them. Like all the adults in the room are like, here's the bootstraps. We will help you. We are there. We're 8 adults in the room. We're all grabbing the bootstraps, and we just need you to put your foot in there. Right? Like all of these things about like, do you need more time? Do you need an extension? Do you need XYZ? Is there something going on in your life that we should know about so that we can accommodate for you? Like the university cared so much about everybody's mental health, right? So much. Multiple advocacy groups to argue in favor of their mental health, right? Which I'm also very sympathetic towards, right? Like I get it. You can't control what happens in your life. Sometimes life really hits you with something and you just have to shut down for a semester. That's why there are like 8 different boards who like get into a room and like discuss your case. Like there are so many adults who sat down with each other to discuss singular students at a time to best form a plan so that they could continue to do their best work at the university. And you know why this is all in rant territory? Do you know why?
Mm-hmm. No.
These students would still leave me bad reviews at the end of the semester.
There it is. There's the home run.
There's the thing, dude. Like if they just bombed and didn't make it my problem, like of course, like I'm one of those 8 adults in the room in my class, right? You start falling behind, I'm sending out emails, I'm checking up on you, I'm scheduling office hours with you. And then I would just have students not show up to those. I'm like, I am literally trying to help you with your homework because you are not submitting your homework. I have bent over backwards for you. I am holding the bootstraps for you so that you can hop in like you know those swings for babies, right? Like
yes.
I just need you to put your legs through so that I can help you with the bootstraps. And you have the madness to be like, this guy didn't explain jack. I'm like, oh my, you are worse than YouTube comments. You are worse than the worst YouTube comments. I cannot believe that 4 adults on each side of this baby swing held open the bootstraps for you and you couldn't put your legs through.
That's so annoying. Oh my god. I didn't have like, maybe I think it was probably like I didn't go to an American university, I'll tell you that. So I didn't have, it wasn't I think it was like the bootstrap experience. Maybe it was also because nobody cared about our philosophy department. But it was very much like the people, like, you know, the moment you get to see some advisors would help you, and then, you know, there'd be some mental health facilities and professionals and like, you know, different bodies of people that would come and help you as well. But it was like only for certain faculties. And the philosophy faculty didn't get any of that. When I bombed, I bombed. I bombed, and like I was like the most I would get is if I like messaged the professor explaining essentially that like I did it. I didn't like that I did it, but like I couldn't. I when I was talking to this professor as well, they made it clear that that's what you should do. Is like you should just include the keyword mental health in there, and they can give you the extension. Because if you cite anything else that's also reasonable, but just doesn't happen to fall in line with the very specific guidelines you set up, it's like they can't give you the extension. So all my professors are like, just say mental health, just say mental health, okay, just say it in the email, and then I could just give you the. And I'm like, okay, I'll do that. And then, but then, like other than that, it was very much like if you fall, you fall. It's over. And I could not have been more grateful for the one philosophy professor who, knowing those rules, decided not only that he was going to make things or introduce challenging content to me in a way that was, ultimately beneficial, but at the time incredibly torturous, but also to insist on doing like quizzes and exams on philosophy. That's unheard of. Nobody does quizzes and exams in philosophy. You sit all the lectures, and at the end you produce like a mediocre 2,000 word paper that, or 3,000 word paper, whatever it is, and that's just like that's the philosophy workload. It could be more, it could be less, but it's just like writing essays. Nobody does like a quiz in like timed condition. In timed conditions, he's like, okay, so what is humor? That was one of the questions he put in the paper. Was like, what is humor? And if you fail this, you fail this question. That's it. There's no like. There's a certain. It's been explained, and it's been explained as well as it can. But ultimately the nature of the work that we needed to learn as philosophy students was that it was incredibly vague and nebulous. My professor did say numerous times like, you're not gonna understand this now, but in 10 years maybe you'll understand like maybe half of a dialogue from Plato. Maybe you'll understand that. And at the time we thought he was just being facetious, but no, it's real. And so like I would say the opposite experience, being in like a faculty that didn't care for their students at all, but in like a good way, because I feel like that failing and that me going like, partly because it was hard, but also partly because I know I could have tried harder and I just didn't. And I was lazy. I was busy getting drunk or whatever I was doing when I was like 20. But partly because of those choices I made, my GPA is like 1 point. Does that like, is that a, hold on, what's the metric we use? It's like a 1.9, and I was like, I can't do anything with a 1.9. I need to pick myself up and lock in. And I did. I locked in, and that was like, I think I learned more from the failure and not being cushioned in that failure than I did from like the actual contents of the lesson. Because the contents of the lesson, I ultimately could have just like, I have the slides downloaded. I could read the slides. That's what most of the professors were doing. They were just reading the slides. It wasn't that hard. Like, and now now that I'm like out of school, I can like, spend that time reading those things in my own time and still pick up essentially what I was picking up in uni. But like, it's that failing is the thing that is so necessary, that I feel like we're discouraging, both in like a, not just because we're coddling students. I think that's one thing, but it's also like we as a society are not, we live in a society. We as a society are not permitting failure. Like, failure is so shunned. It's such a shameful, embarrassing thing that no one is allowed to fail anymore. No, people should fail. People should fall down on their face and eat some dirt. Like, this is so necessary, especially for philosophy, right? But for like anything, I feel like that should be the case. But we're teaching them precisely the opposite lesson, like metastructurally, I guess, maybe like in our education system, where it's like you should not be failing, when I think the opposite is true.
I want to address a couple of points.
Yes,
first,
sorry,
just to again to snap back into teacher mode for a second.
Yes.
My say so teacher mode. ADHD, I totally get it. I suspected that some of my students did have ADHD, but we weren't allowed to be like, you need therapy. Yeah, we weren't allowed to be like, you need to see somebody for medication because your executive function is non-existent, right? Like we couldn't say that, right? Because then you're not allowed to like imply that a student has something like that. But like who else is going to do it except the student, right? It was just like banging my head against the wall, being like, you need to lock in, but I can't actually say that because that's oppressive, right? That's like demanding that a teacher would say you need to lock in. But I understand that people with ADHD can have difficulties with accomplishing tasks on time. But like the difference is there are 8 adults in the room begging you to get help, and like to deny any of them, I think it's a little crazy when an entire group of adults is like, please, for the love of God, we need you to lock in. Like we need you to meta reflect on your situation and get help from somewhere and not just stand still. Because that's the scariest thing to me, is that when students stand still and don't attempt to address their problems. Like if you have problems, you start the semester weak, but then you learn something about yourself. Oh, I need to be held accountable. I need to like co-study with other people. Yeah, that's fine, right? College is about learning how you learn, how you specifically pointing into the screen, how you learn. Um,
Yes.
but if you just take L's, L after L after L after L, and the difference, Karis, I'm going to be a little rude to you.
Yes.
But if you are a pre-med, you cannot afford a 1.9. You cannot if you are pre-med, right? If you are trying to be a medical professional, and remember, I taught biology, so the majority of my students were pre-med, you cannot be pre-med with a lower than a 3.0. 3.5 is already shaky, right? It's already unsure if you'll get in on your first application with a 3.5. 3.75, and your odds go up to, I think, 80% acceptance rate, which is still 1 in 5 people not getting in anywhere with a 3.75. And I am screaming in my head at these pre-med students being like, you need help. You need to acknowledge that you need help. What are you doing burning $60,000 a year in tuition and taking up the space that I would have been in your shoes, right? Like that's where the anger comes from, right? Like you
It should have
are
been
messing
me.
this up. It should have been me, dude. You are here twiddling your thumbs, failing and not doing anything about it. And I get that depression makes getting help difficult. And I had like probably some form of subclinical depression when I was an undergraduate too. Not enough for a diagnosis, but like, I had trouble sleeping. I don't want to call it depression. That's why I call it preclinical. Just like I had a rough mental health year in undergraduate as well. And it is stressful because you're working so often. Like you spend your 8 hours in classes and then you have to do homework. Like it's not easy. Like I get that. What really scares me is when a student is bombing and all of your attempts at like, please can we get together and figure out your life while you are burning money at the fire pit because American universities are not cheap, while you are trying to get into a medical school that requires such high standards and you are just willfully closing your eyes and plugging your ears, and we can't it would stress me out so much. And there's this like tendency, my fellow teachers were just like, well, you can't save every student, right? There's a detachment, oh well, some students are just like that. What happens to them will happen to them. But like I was still young and naive enough to be like, but I could fix them. But I could fix them. I could find a way to break through and shake their shoulders and be like, please, you need to lock in or you're not going to get into a medical school. What are you doing with your life, please? Also, you're taking up my spot. I applied to this university twice. I couldn't get in. Like, why, dude? Why are you being so stubborn? Like all the people are here to support you. It's just inside your head there has to be like a rock bottom or something, like a switch that gets flipped before anything can happen. And like we're all there, like we're waiting on bated breath. Like the moment you say you need help, all 8,000 adults in the room are gonna jump over one another to help you. But like when that moment never comes, I just want to scream. It makes me so mad.
What about and like I know this is a rant stream, so I hate to like dig really into it, but like what about it is frustrating? Is the most frustrating? Is it the well, it's obviously a mix of everything, but is it like it should have been me, not him, or is it like this person could do it if only I could just take control of their mind for 2 months or whatever, they could just do everything? Or like is it like I can't believe structurally we're allowing this to happen, or like what is it exactly that like
I
infuriates you the
love that
most?
question because I've been thinking about this idea a lot because there's a
Mm,
post by the VTuber Saiken on his Twitter talking about how he had a mentor in residency, medical residency, a doctor that he worked under that made him like cry twice, and he said he was the best teacher he's ever had, right? I
mm,
think the main frustration, the reason why I get so worked up about these students who neither walk forward nor backward nor try anything, they don't try from my perspective, right? I don't know what they're doing behind the
mm,
scenes, but since they're not
mm.
responding to my emails, it doesn't look like they're trying to make their situation better, right? They're not. That's not just me. We all talk to each other too, right? All 8 adults who are assigned to your case, all are connected. And when we get into these meetings, they're like, "Hey, did so and so ever email you back? No. Did so and so ever show up to that meeting you two scheduled? No." They made up an excuse to be like, "Well, I thought it was Tuesday," and then they didn't reschedule, right? We all talk to each other, and like the frustration comes from the fact that like if I were allowed to say anything to you, if I weren't bound by my job, like it is like there are so many things that I would want to say that I'm not even sure I can say on this rant stream because it might be too saucy for a rant stream, right? Just like
You
there
can we
like
can role
that
play. You can say them to me. Like I am a student. Okay, so what POV
okay,
I
okay.
walk in and I've got a 1.9 and I've been ignoring your emails.
Yeah, and you're trying to apply for medical school. Okay, okay.
Yeah,
So
for some reason.
yeah, for some reason, right? I would just be like, listen, oh my god, I'm gonna be so mean. Oh my, I even feel a little emotional even thinking about being this mean. But if I were to try, oh my god, I don't know if I could do it. Oh, okay. Here's what I'll say. This is the emotional truth, right? I don't know that I
Mm,
would actually say this to a student, but in my
right,
brain, this is what's going on.
right.
I'd be like, so, how many hours do you think your parents work? How many hours of their work did it require to pay the tuition for you to be in this position right now? 60 to $80,000 yearly tuition for 4 years. I need you to think very carefully about the labor and the support that you have gotten up until this point. And also think about what you actually want to do in the future. It's okay. I'm sure at some, I can't say for everybody's parents because everybody's parents are different, but I'm sure the only thing that your parents want for you at the end of the day, if they're good parents, is for you to be happy and safe. And they put in a lot of effort to try to put you in a position for that to be true. Again, not all parents. Some parents are worse than others. But I think most parents would agree with that statement. So you are here in this position to figure out what it is that you would like to do. And not everybody ends up figuring that out. But the difference, okay, is that you want to go to medical school, one of the most demanding professions in all of existence. A demanding profession with a very high level of, well, with a very high barrier to entry, where there are millions and millions of applicants per year and a finite number of seats available in these medical schools. For a life that is recession proof, that is desirable, that is something that people covet and respect. And there's also this idea of if you want it, then you have to prove to a medical school that you are not going to give up like you are giving up right now. Because GPA for medical school is a skill check. I see some people in common C's get degrees. Yes. I'm not talking about you. I taught biologists. More than half wanted to be pre-med, and the other half wanted to go to graduate school. These are two of the instances where your GPA does matter for STEM: graduate school and medical school. And you sitting here with a 1.9 and not doing anything about it is really, really scary. Like, the idea of burning that money in this position for you to learn something about the way you operate is incalculable. The amount of burnt dollar bills in the air. It's not that, okay, your parents bought you in here so that you could become a doctor, right? It is more that like they are buying you an opportunity to do something. And instead of doing something, you are doing nothing. That is the worst thing to do. Doing something in a university setting, exploring your own values, exploring what it is you actually want to do, figuring out what your passion is, even rebelling against your parents. If they want you to be a doctor and you rebel against them, as long as you find a good paying job or something that will allow you to live a comfortable life, whatever, right? These days, that's what university is about, is finding some level of comfort in our capitalist society, which, sucks, but that's just the way that life happens, right? But to do nothing is so distressing. And you're not going to get it to medical school with a 1.9. You're just not going to get it. Like, I don't know what your plan is, dude. What are you going to do with...
I'm sorry, Mr. Phi. I'm sorry, Dr. Phi. I'm sorry, Professor. I'll do my diagrams. I'll hand in my homework.
But I don't know if that's even the truth, because like I've gamed this out in my head like a couple of different ways. Because even though I say I'm like a dick, I actually do try to see multiple different perspectives, right? From the view of the student, right? Like in these like 8-person meetings discussing every case, I get in there, I'm like, what are the possible elements of a student's life that are happening to them right now that are causing them distress? And can we do something about it, right? These are thoughtful discussions of like, if the student has some sort of executive function issue, then a reasonable thing that we can do to accommodate for that is recommend some services, right? But we can't offer those services because it's kind of uncouth to be like, hey, I think you have ADHD, please get help, right? Like we can't do that, right? There are other things like, what if the student doesn't want to go to medical school? Well, then we kind of try to suss that out. I've had conversations with these students be like, softly suggest that like, oh, engineering, that's something that you could try, or, like, is medical school something that you are truly, truly passionate about? Are you sure? And I always get the same answers. Yes, I want to go to medical school. And I'm like, so why do you have a 1.9?
Has anyone actually had like a 1.9? That's probably unheard of, right?
I've had a student with like a low 2 and like an F in my course, right? Because they just didn't do any work. Like they took the MCAT, right? They got far enough in the pre-med like lifestyle or whatever to have taken the qualifying exam to get into medical school. But like, they should know that their grade count, like they're so persnickety. Like in medical school, they will email you to explain a C that you get in your second semester senior year, right? That's how much they desperately care that they are taking the people who have succeeded in academic challenge, right? This is agnostic towards your intelligence, right? I get that grades don't necessarily mean you're smart, doesn't necessarily mean you're bad or not smart. The grade for medical school is a skill check to see if we throw the world at you, could you handle it? It is about your life management skill. It is not about your intelligence. It is about, if we ask you to do a flip, are you going to do the flip? Because think about it. Like me, I'm a little soft little banana boy, right? I'm a little like whimpering little fool, right? The kind of person that does well in medical school, from my perspective, having taught like pre-med, is like the positive energy frat bro is like one archetype. Like there's this one guy the one student who I really, really enjoyed, he would say, hello, Mr. Phi. Like he would say Mr. Phi. Like nobody calls me, it's university, just call me by my first name, right? Mr. the Neutrophil, right? He would say that to me, like nod at me, like even salute me occasionally. This is a positive frat boy who's just gonna do what they're told, like, which sounds like subservience, but it's not necessarily that. It's like the patient needs CPR now. You got to have a doctor who's right on that.
Sir, let's
right?
go. Right.
Yeah, exactly. Like, or, this patient needs a blood draw. And, if it were me, I'd be like, oh my God, how do I do a blood draw again? Like, what? Well, I need to like Google how to do a blood. Like the people I think who do well are like, okay, who are very confident, self-assured, metacognitive, confident in their ability, confident in their own understanding of their own ability, critically thinking about their situation, taking ownership of their life, their own personal life with respect to their job, right? Like these are the personality traits that I am very happy to see in pre-med students. But somebody who is like, I'm going to let my life implode on me, is like, well, if you are letting your life implode on you, why would a patient trust you with their life? Right? Like I get the grades, grades not necessarily smart. I get that. But like medicine is literally managing a patient's life, and if you cannot manage your own life, that's like not a good sign.
I mean, I feel like you could have been harsher. It is like that you are literally responsible for that. That's the reason why the career comes with so much prestige, so much security, so much admiration. Like, and it's just the universal agreement that, like, all doctors are, like, are good, and like that's why they deserve to be paid well and treated well and respected and all that. It's because part of it is exactly that they're held to a higher expectation. So to have that expectation that they'll at least have their shit together and, like, hand in their homework seems to me like, I don't know, more like it seems more than reasonable. Like, I do have to clarify. I'm a little distracted by Zero's comment earlier. That's like a 1.9 does seem kind of egregious. Okay, look, let me defend myself for a second and say, one, I wasn't trying to go to med school. Okay, I knew I wasn't cut out for that life. Immediately, I knew I wasn't cut out for that life when I was like 13, and I was asked to remember all the body parts, and I was like, I can't do it. I was like, Mom, I don't know what the body parts are. I don't want to remember them. And like I knew I would never be a doctor at that point when I was like 12 or whatever. But like but my 1.9 was because it was like early on in my undergrad career, and I happened upon a few courses where it was notoriously easy to cheat, and because of certain circumstances, that which I will not mention in great detail, it was made even easier to cheat, and it was like the way the grading system worked was it was like weighed on a curve, based on how well everyone else did, and obviously everyone cheated. But me, being the bright-eyed, like innocent young Charis Euphranor heading into my first steps of undergrad, I was like, I'm gonna be honest, because I think if I don't do well, it's gonna be a good lesson, and I'm gonna learn how to be a better student, and that matters more. Learning and becoming my better self matters more than my grades. And then I got a 1.9. And I was like, wait, okay, if I stay here, I'm gonna get kicked out, or I'm gonna lose out all the opportunities to do cool projects. So maybe instead of going to school to learn, I should stop. I should just try to game the system and do the easy courses to inflate my GPA a bit, and then so I can actually go do the things that I really care about, like fun projects and whatnot. And like you have to submit a little bit to the cynicism of it all. Okay, that's my justification for my 1.9. That's me defending my. It didn't end at a 1.9, but yeah.
I'll defend your 1.9 too a little bit, right? Again, you're not trying to be a doctor, like a medical life-saving doctor. Okay, like I don't want to like. There was a comment up there that was about like, wow, this would be really devastating to hear from a teacher. I'm like, you have to understand, pre-meds play a different game than everybody else in university, because as conventional wisdom says, oh, nobody will care about your grade 20 years from now. That's true. But if you're a doctor, you need to get into medical school. That's just, there's no negotiation. Your grades actually do matter. I'm sorry. Like now, if you are pre-med and you're not doing well, there are options. There's no need to freak out. I want to make sure that if there are pre-meds in your chat right now, that are not doing well, like academically,
there's no way there's a pre-med in my chat. They don't have the time.
But if they're for the archive, then right, for the VOD,
yeah, eventually
there are
they'll
options.
dig it up. Yeah,
yeah, they'll dig it up, right, and they'll be like, Charis was a genius all along, right? Like, if you are not doing well, you can do what's called a post-bac, in which you do a 5th year of university and then you really have to lock in, do well in your post-bac classes so that you can bring your overall GPA up, right? There are routes, okay? Not everybody makes it to medical school the first time around. Some people, like famously Dr. K, who like bombed and then did like a retreat and then got into medical school, a prestigious medical school, had all sorts of prestigious positions there. So it is possible, right? But like he would still acknowledge that your grade does matter, and he would have been a doctor earlier if he had his life figured out earlier, right? That's just what it is. It's just like I get, like I understand, but I also have the right to yell at you, right? I think two things can be true. Right? Two things can be true. Like, I can understand that depression is paralyzing, but what else am I supposed to do as a teacher, right? This is something that, it's very popular to crap on professors in social media, to call them all too harsh and to dunk on them. But if there is a severely depressed student who on paper wants to go to medical school and is not moving at all, and we have done everything apart from forcing a therapist into their bedroom, what are we supposed to do? What can we do for you, my 1.9 pre-med student? What sequence of actions would be okay? And nobody thinks about that. How to save these students. It has to come from within. Right?
Actually, I think you could have just explained the concept more clearly. 1 star.
Oh my god. Oh my god. I'm gonna lose it, dude. I'm gonna lose it. I'm gonna lose it.
Oh my god. No, but like I get that. It is so frustrating to see like a student.
What's that
stand still? Yeah.
Was it Nietzsche who the will to power?
The Will to Power is by Friedrich Nietzsche, yes.
The idea of like I might be appropriating it
Okay.
and misremembering it, but like the idea that if you want to like thrive, the like drive to live your life has to be in there somewhere, because the world will not bend around you. You must bend the world for yourself, right? Am I kind of getting that right?
Yes. That's yes. I'm hold on. I'm trying to like think of, because Nietzsche said a lot of stuff. He would say that. Would he say that? You know what? I think he would say that. He would say something along those lines. It is very much like you have to take life. You have to be the one to do it. Like you have to take charge of your own life, of your own existence. Like you have to make your own choices. You can't just let somebody else make them for you.
I also see comments, self-deprecating comments, and much like how I said at the beginning, right, with Charis, I don't know that you're ugly. I don't know that you're not ugly. But the one thing that is definitely true is that your destiny is in part in your own hands, right? There's the environment and the world around you. But like, you know, there's no combination of words that I can say to a person to bring them out of having no self-worth, right? As a teacher, right, having had students who were bombing, there's no magic combination of things that I could say, much like YouTube commenters. This is all a great wrap up for everything that I've said, right? Like there's no magic combination of things I think I could have done to pull out a 1.9 student. There's no combination of words that I can respond to a YouTube hate comment to magically make them understand. Like there's only so much that I can do for other people. But like the will to improve one's own life, like I can't do that for anybody. Like it is innate, intrinsic from within. The only thing that I can do in my teacher position, or former teacher, I'm no longer a teacher, but the only thing that I could do it maybe as a friend or as a colleague or something is to
as your favorite YouTuber.
As your favorite YouTuber, is to help fertilize this, you know, the seed, right? Like to give you a little bit of fertilizer, a little support along the way, right? Like, you know, if that 1.9 student decided, I'm going to show up to office hours every time I have office hours, I'm so there. I'm pouring on the fertilizer. I'm watering the crops. I'm tilling the soil, right? But you need to be the one to drop the seed into the soil, right? Like those are my thoughts.
I think it wouldn't be devil's advocate, but maybe to like kind of put some support on the other end of this as well, on the end of the student, right? Because I think we've been speaking very much from the end of the professor. And to respond to something that Jessa said a while ago, that was very much less like it was less like a specific med school context, of course, and more like just a general like what, but it's so hard, or rather isn't it kind of understandable for someone to give up on life, being told that, you know, things don't get better, you know, everything in the world's screwed over anyways, like there's no hope, or maybe like if it's something that's particular to you as a person, like, oh, you're unremarkable, you're not going to make it very far, there's nothing worth doing, like you're not going to be, you know, you're not going to amount to much anyway, so who cares? There's like, and like, how do you recover from that self-esteem? I don't really think I have a great answer beyond you need to have a little bit of delusion / like just defiance, but not a defiance in like a I'm gonna fight anyone who says that, but in like I live on spite, I'm gonna go out and prove people wrong. and that needs to be combined with like a my project is incomplete but it will be eventually and I'm working towards it and it will work, and people's minds and lives will be touched and changed, and they will experience a new grandeur from my magnificent beautiful work. Like, you have to have a little bit of, I think, that ego, which I think just manifests itself as healthy confidence, that you will, like, you can do something. Because if you truly believed that you can do nothing, then you're not going, then you're paralyzed, right? That is how that works. If you truly believed that there was no way to save your 1.9, or, you know, if there was no way you could get into medical school, then you can't do it. Like, if you believe that earnestly. But like, part of it is exactly what Vi said, right? It's a motivation that has to come internally from within, and of course that's so hard, especially when people who are not you externally are like, no, you don't matter, you'll never make it, it's not possible, blah blah blah. You know, that will happen, that you will be told those things, and you kind of have to either take the, I would say, the more healthy angle of going like, okay, this person is being unreasonable, I know my metrics. Or you can be a bit like me, and maybe like a bit like Vi as well, and just be like a little delusional. Just go like, actually, no, everyone's wrong. I know what I'm talking about. I know I can't prove it yet, but I will. I'm gonna keep going on this thing until I get it, and I will get it. And everyone, then they'll praise me as the genius that I am, and I'll get a bunch of awards eventually. And, you know, and whatever you need to tell yourself to actually get moving. I think, like, to maybe finish the point, I think this ties back into what I can imagine is like the response to the question you asked me earlier, which I don't think I answered to completion, when you asked me like, what is the point of the, like, of my content, like, right, what do I want people to take away from it? Is it like I sat there and I watched the Charlie Prom video and I had an existential crisis for 20 minutes and then, like, I just quit YouTube? Yes, but that's not the most important step. The crisis is just the first step, because the step after that is, well, really is the actual first step, because it's literally the word step, right? It's taking action. It's doing something. That's the goal. The point of the whole Charis Euphranor project, I think, ultimately, is it's supposed to move people out of that, like, despair and hopelessness that things can't change and nothing they do matters. Because that's my delusion, and that I think that's not true.
Have you seen the anime Blue Period?
No, but I've been told by Art Team to watch it, and Art Team 2 to watch it, and Art Team 3 to watch it.
There's a scene in there. It's not really a spoiler, but there's a scene in there where the main character, he's like a cool dude, right? He's just like someone who's chill and like moving along with the motion of the ocean and in his life as like a high schooler, like pretty talented, rolled pretty high in looks and other abilities. And he has this catastrophic realization that, I actually love doing art, which is devastating if you have like a corporate career in front of you, right? Like the idea to submit yourself to your passions is scary. And there's like a world that doesn't believe that he can do it, right? And there's this beautiful scene where he's like, he's like so mad at, you know, like life, that he has to have this love for art. You know, it's like almost in a way a curse, and that there is an unforgiving world around him that doesn't believe in his art. And there's this beautiful scene where he's like crying, like ugly crying, while he's painting a picture, and he's like, I'll kill them all with my art. Like, it feels very much like that. Like, I'll show you with my art, the beauty of my art. I'll show you, I'll make an impact on this world. I'm like, I love that. I think the like initiative to change, the will to warp the world around you is like, I don't have nice things to say to students after a while. Like, no supportive, like, you can do it, you're smart. I just feel like at a certain time, like, I don't want to say those things anymore. Like, I want to be Saiken's mean teacher who makes you cry, which is a total departure from my YouTube personality, right? But there are some students where I'm like, I just need you to be shaken out of your inaction to do something, right? Because as you said, like, if the goal of the Charis Euphranor project is to get an audience to do something, to move in a certain direction. I don't think you particularly care about how they move. Like for me, I have a goal. I want you to love science. I want you to love biology. I want you to love me. These are all explicit goals. But for you, I imagine it's more about doing anything, like move. Don't sit still and do something, right?
Mm-hmm. You are the driver of the trolley.
You are the driver. You have to pull the lever.
Do something, anything. Don't let the trolley make the choice for you.
It's gonna multi-track drift if you do nothing. That should be a different trolley problem, right? Either one person dies, you let it, or if you don't do anything, it kills both.
I will say if I had to say something negative about the trolley thing, and to bring in just another rant, it should have done even better.
Yes!
I am so egotistical about that. And I think I didn't have those thoughts until the other day. I stumbled upon another video essay on YouTube, and it was uploaded the same day my video was uploaded. It was a 20-minute video, and it was titled like "You've Been Lied to About Cave Women," and it was a great video. It was a fantastic, beautiful, excellent video on the history of cavemen and cave women, and how popular media has misunderstood it as misunderstood cave women as foragers who are less less battle capable than the males who would go hunting, when in act foraging was actually dangerous. And it was making really interesting points and subverted your understanding of the topic in a way that was, I think, deeply educational and meaningful and good. But then it that was it, and it was great, but that got 500,000 views, and I'm looking at my thing and I'm like, come on, surely I did really I got 1% of that. It's great, but I was trying to do a little more. I was going a little further with that, and
Okay, bro. I came from 88 views, but that's how I know we're alike in that kind of way. We're to some degree, you have to know that first serious video essay getting 500,000 is a little delusional just with how the algorithm works.
Yeah.
Not because again, craft and art, and then there's algorithm, right? Three different the tripod of whether or not your video does well is all three of those things.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just YouTube doesn't know who vibes with your content, but it vibed well enough for YouTube to assign you a certain audience, right? That's how you should think about the algorithm. Is that it gave you a test audience, it did well with the test audience, and then it invested 5,000 viewers into your video.
Oh my god, sorry, I forgot to mention one really key point. I clicked on that person's channel and it was their first video.
Oh!
Sorry, that's
compare
the
yourself
key
to the
point.
Genius Baby.
And I was like, oh my god. This person made this channel just to upload this video, and it was their first video, and then and it was the same day as my thing. And how did I even know this video? Know of this video? It's because I was looking at my analytics, and I was and it showed a certain percentage of people clicked onto my video from that one.
From that video.
From that one, and that's probably what gave it.
I love that.
And I think you confirm this to me if you can, Fi, if you're familiar with this part. But I feel the one part of the algorithm I didn't really take into account. In hindsight, I probably should have, even if it wouldn't have changed any of the outcome, is the fact that I believe YouTube wants to recommend you videos that make you click on more videos.
Yes, their overall goal is to get you to stay on the platform, which means exhausting content like ours is naturally going to be at a disadvantage. But again, This is the part in me, in the blue period in me, that's I'm gonna kill them with my art. I'm gonna, despite these disadvantages, I am going to, through snot-nosed, runny tears, ugly crying, despite these natural disadvantages, I am going to make the world bend around me. That's the level of delusion, right?
Yes.
But that's kind of oh gosh, there was another point. Dang. Yeah, I mean, I relate to that. That's why I was the first time we talked, we're gonna get along because we're both freaking narcissists, dude. Because I released that abiogenesis video thinking it was my opus. I was dude, 500,000 views, easy. Maybe even 1 million, because abiogenesis is such a good topic. And then, now it's 100,000 plus. I'm like, it did very well for my channel. And a lot of people are looking at my channel right now and probably going, oh, my toast is too buttery, my steak is too fatty, right? Like ho hum, how could you complain? I'm like, I get that. Like you and I, we understand. We're being narcissists.
Yes.
We're being egoists.
Yeah.
But we understand that, right? And I don't think it is wrong to have delusional self-belief as long as, okay, this is a very important condition that separates, I think, this from like a malignant form of narcissism. I don't think I'm better than anybody else.
Yes.
I believe everybody could be as delusional as me.
Yes.
Like, that's something that I think is possible for everybody to do, which is why I don't think that's like, oh, there's something unique about me that makes this a 500 million, whatever, 5 million view video, right? There's nothing unique about me that is likely to contribute to that. The difference is that I believe I can do it, and I get humbled every time, right? It's important to note that despite having such a high ego, and despite these videos like underperform, and they have to underperform, right? I think I'm fairly rated by the algorithm, right? The algorithm rates my channel fairly. I understand that at a cognitive level, but my soul is like, I've got 1 million views in my head, right? And I think that's like fine, right? I think that's what makes it so fun, right? Like this idea, the Zizek idea of like pour your whole heart into something and suck at it. There's no expectation to be good in that sense, right? Where like, is there a little bit of negative like feedback in my head of like, oh, the video didn't do as well as I wanted it to? Yeah, but then I'm already working on the next video. So how long do I have to like dwell on, oh, my abiogenesis video doesn't have 1 million views, which is a crazy thing to want to begin with. But like the difference, the reason why I think we can be this narcissistic is because, again, as you said, failure, like we don't fail because there's no fail condition. The act of putting your heart and soul into something is a W already. You can never fail doing that. It's only up to you if you decide you fail, right?
Giving up.
For me,
is
the
failing.
giving up is
the
failing.
only way to do that.
Even giving up isn't necessarily failing, because you can give up on something if you decide it's not for you, right? If 1.9
That's
student
true.
decided, I actually don't want to be a doctor, that's a freaking W. But you made an active decision to reject the life of a doctor. That was active and in your hands. You didn't just let life wash over you, right? For me, it's like, I can't fail because if I worked hard and put my whole thing, like my whole being into a piece of art, like that was valuable. That was time well spent. I will die on my deathbed not regretting that moment, right? Even if the YouTube thing doesn't work out, I have to take a whatever job and I like have to severely cut back my hours working on this project. It will still not have been a failure because I tried to be great, right? I think there is something worthy of trying to be great, not even being great. I mean, I'll never get to Mr. Beast level. I know that. But trying, the journey of like, I can self-actualize to be great. Even if I don't end up great, my life will have been one worth living if I set myself up to try.
Yes.
And I bet you feel the same way.
It's literally word for word. You have to try, and like that's all that matters is like I did it. I gave it a go. I think it's fairly safe to say this now. Is it? Hold on, let me think about this for 1 second. No, it's not. I'll tell you off stream.
Okay.
Maybe I won't say this, but I was proud. But the point of that anecdote was just supposed to be like, at least I did it. I can tell people I did that. And it can't be, this thing cannot be done anymore. And I did it in the window of opportunity that it was allowed. And that's like, even if I didn't get it, I did it. I look
and
at
it's
your...
also,
yeah.
So it's also the fact that like, what I'm saying is like, it's not necessarily that your video did well, that, you know, what you're describing as it in quotation marks, that's not the 5,000 views for your first try. That's, I accurately conveyed my heart and soul in a piece of work.
Yes.
And that is something that's not that common for people to be able to do, because you have to have a level of motivation, a level of patience, a level of desire and intrinsic motivation to bleed out on a page or on a video like that, right? And that very action of attempting to connect to other humans through your art, again, I'm using art in my definition versus craft, like I have put my whole It's taking all of my energy to not say the following word. I'm gonna type it to you.
I think I know it. I think I know what it ends in. Yes, I knew it. Your whole neutrophil into it.
my whole membrane. Like the act of putting your whole membrane into something is the reward, and people don't really get that. They think, oh, if I don't get a certain number of views, then this will have been a failure. But that's like, if you successfully manage to capture your essence onto a piece of paper, and anybody, not in terms of numbers, but if anybody saw that and went, thank you, that's a banger right there, right? You connected to another human. They saw a very vulnerable part of you and they liked it. And it doesn't matter how many people like it. If somebody is out there and they have seen your whole soul on paper and they gave you a thumbs up, I think that's a big W, man. Like, apart from my own narcissism about numbers and success, right? Like, even if I didn't have those things, the very virtue of putting your whole membrane onto paper is like, that's the thing that is the W.
I was just gonna, kind of jump off of that point and ask you, how do you, having said all of that and taking into account your other work, your other videos that have probably garnered more attention, etc., but nonetheless they've all paled in comparison in terms of like the effort that you put into this one, how do you feel now about your abiogenesis video, which I believe you call your magnum opus? And do you believe that still?
I think in terms of my goals of outlining how complex and nuanced the puzzle of science is, I worked so hard on that video, and I think it still holds up in terms of like, I think I represented the science very accurately, which was a challenge because abiogenesis is not my field, right? I had to do a lot of like quintuple checking on every detail of that video, which took me, I was working like 12-hour days on that. Oh, wow. And the goal of that video was not to be like, our life started in the vents and then we became this. I was like, I'm going to show you how complicated science is by telling you every modern major hypothesis that has ever existed about abiogenesis. Not every hypothesis, but every major one that made a splash. So that I can show you that if you want to ask big questions, you have to be flexible in your mindset. That hypotheses rise, they fall given you evidence, that there is a motion and a dance, a choreography, and a social aspect of science where there are clans, right? The pondists, the ventists, right? There are human elements to this too. And as you so graciously praised in my video, I have a portion about it that has a long-winded soapbox about epistemics, how do we construct truth as a society, as mere mortal humans. And I also mentioned at the very end this idea of incomplete knowledge and spiritualism wraps itself in. I tried really hard not to make fun of creationism, and even opened up a little bit of wiggle room to be like, you can believe God came before this, and that's totally fine. I'm okay with that. Right? I wanted to complete the most fair and balanced view of abiogenesis that has ever been on YouTube. And I think that's still true. I think I have the best abiogenesis video on YouTube because the other ones only take one perspective. Because other content creators in the science communication sphere, just like how you are like, oh, there's 1,000 video essays on the trolley problem, explaining what the trolley problem is. And I didn't want to explain how did we get here. I wanted to explain, how do we know what we think about how we got here? Which is a different question, because it would have been 70 minutes shorter if I just said, okay, well, there was some crap on the bottom of the ocean and it formed a little cell and then here we are, right? It would be so much shorter and so much more single saliva trail down your mouth to consume that kind of content. Yummy. But instead, I wanted to be like, you need to juggle these 8 ideas. And I'm not going to tell you which is the best idea, because there is no best. Because if you want to play with the adults in the science world, you have to accept that there is no best. There is not one universal best. There is consensus, but how is consensus built? It's built upon evidence. How is evidence built? It's built upon this feedback loop of popularity, which is true, but then there's a corrective mechanism that comes in as more scientists are looking to dethrone previous scientists, right? There's all these movements, and there's also like, what do you prefer? Like all of that gets missed in conventional videos about abiogenesis because they're just like, here's the story of how we came to be. And I still feel very happy about my video.
And it is the best one on YouTube. Is that right?
I think so.
Is it the most popular one? Which one's the most popular one?
It's not the most popular one. There's a whole bunch of them are more popular than mine, but I think mine is the most comprehensive.
It's probably like the TED Ed one I'm looking at. It's like, got 1.4 million. We can beat it.
I mean, like, but the thing about
even video, like,
well, they would never put me in TED Ed because TED Ed likes having these neat stories that resolve easily, right?
Yeah.
Here's a professor that tells you how life happened from his perspective, or their perspective, I should say, right? And like I consulted a couple of those talks because I came in. I usually don't like to listen to other scientists, like their popular SciComm stuff, because I feel like there's a bias to their storytelling. Usually, I usually like to go straight to the data, but I couldn't do that for abiogenesis because it's not my field. I needed to go for the more like popular stuff so that I can have context when I read the more complicated stuff. Like before I okay, let me quantify this. There were lectures that I watched because the core content was out of my scope. After watching the lectures, I did read the papers, right? So everything in that video is primary literature informed. I just needed some help because it's just so complicated. But when you get a certain
position
perspective,
yourself in that first before you like dove into it properly, right?
Yeah. I needed the like, okay, what do people understand about the topic? Not me. What does the popular audience, what do the 1.5 TED, where are they starting from? The 1.5 people who watch the TED Ed talk. And I need to start from where they're starting. Otherwise I might get something I might get a bunch of comments, which I still have. But I mean, the comments that I got, I'm like, these were expected. We'll put it that way. But yeah, like I think I lost my train of thought.
The TED Ed video, gathering it, primary source.
Yeah,
abiogenesis.
When you have one perspective on abiogenesis, that's just it. It's just one, and they pretend like that's the only one. If the vent guy is gonna pretend like the pond doesn't exist, the pond guys are gonna pretend like the vents don't exist because they have a financial interest in making sure you believe in what they believe, and they're allowed to, right? If I were a pond scientist, I wouldn't be giving shout outs to my opponents. Right? That's just not a smart career thing to do. But the reason why I think I have the best video on abiogenesis is because I'm not a professor. I'm not in anybody's like pocket. I read everything and I have my own opinions and I made sure that I communicated my opinions as they were my opinions. And I'm staring the viewer in the face. I'm like, I am not going to, I think I say in the video, like, I'm not going to make this easy for you. Like, this is not like, this isn't, like there are no easy answers when it comes to this. And I want people to appreciate the beauty that can come from having to work for your food, right? Instead of having the poisoned cake put in front of you. Like in that abiogenesis video, it's more like I have like a bonbon at the end of a fishing rod and I'm dancing the lure and you have to try to catch the fish. These are tortured metaphors.
I liked the visual one you used in the video at the end, like the one where you were like licking your way to like the core of the candy. I loved that. I thought that was a great way to like
that was a little bit of my art. my artistry, my vision.
They didn't understand. They were like, stop being cute. No,
my vision, my art.
I likewise think my video on the trolley problem is the best one to exist. It's literally the best trolley problem video. There's not a single trolley problem video that is better. There are loads that are more popular, none of them better. I've also got a bone to pick with TED Ed because they're like, the trolley problem was invented by philosopher Philip Foot in 19. Like, no, it was like I'm.
Well, if there's anything that I think. I do have to go soon, but I think this kind of puts everything on into like a bow. I don't know if you're gonna continue streaming, but I do have to.
No, I'm gonna head off fairly soon as well. This is gonna be our last rant point.
Gotcha. Like I think like in terms of like self-worth and validation, which is I think a lot of what the stream was. I mean, what were you expecting? You got two narcissists talking to each other. Like there's going to be a lot of discussion about self-worth, right? But I think what you just said there was quite poignant in the sense of like, I have the best trolley problem video. It's not the most popular, but it is the best. And like the whole thread of today's conversation is based off of ideas of self-worth and empowerment and stuff like that. And I think if people, I don't know, I'm not a therapist, I'm not like a mental health person, right? But I think I live in a way where those two things, what is it called? There's like a thing where you can have two seemingly contradictory ideas in your head at the same time. Do you know what that fancy word is?
That is a paradox?
Like dialectic, something.
A dialectic is when there are two opposing ideas. So yeah, I suppose that would be it. Yes, a dialectic.
Yeah, so like you can hold two ideas in a dialectic manner where your video might do poorly, but at the same time it's still the best video in your opinion. And I think that's a pretty poignant like analogy for self-worth, at least in my perspective, where like the world might think you're whatever, a person languishing in mid-tier YouTube, but you can still believe you're the best. And I think that's wonderful. I think that's awesome.
People need to believe that. I think everyone needs to be a little, in true narcissist fashion, if everyone in the world was a bit more like me, then it would be a better place. And I wouldn't have to get so angry and complain so much about all the stupid, dumb BS that they keep throwing at me, all the uncritical examinations of one's soul, all the people that go, we should teach philosophy to younger kids. We should teach philosophy in schools. Why isn't philosophy a subject that we teach to you? You want to know why? Because they're watching TikTok on their phone and you haven't monitored their usage. Sorry, I'm
get him, dude. Get him, dude.
And in conclusion, it's actually your fault, not mine. I'm literally the greatest person ever, and joined next to me, the only other person who could ever even exist on the same screen as me, is Phi the Neutrophil. Thank you, Phi.
I forgot I had this mad toggle the entire time, so I'm using it now.
This angry toggle, angry Phi toggle. I've had like vents in the stream that are like in the backdrop of the stream.
I have noticed.
And I've been gradually increasing them over the course of it. That's substitutes.
It's a good touch.
Yes, that's making up for the lack of an angry toggle for me, because I realize I don't have that. I should have that. And I don't know why I didn't think I would be angry. I thought I would be scared because I thought I would eventually play a horror game, and then I thought I would be like I would be pondering, and that's what the thinking pose is for. So I've got like this one for when I'm thinking, and no, this one for when I'm scared, and I can't believe I didn't think of anything else. But you know what? We get angry in Charis Euphranor channel. We do that. Thank you very much, Phi, for coming along.
Thank you for allowing me to access angry emotions so that I can go back to being regular and say so on my own channel.
We flush it all out, and then we're like calm, neutral, rational, reasonable people. Yes, Phi the Neutrophil. Thank you everyone for joining us. I'm sorry we haven't responded to all the comments. There were discussions being had amongst yourselves, which I think is good. This was more just like us venting and ranting, so I didn't really pay.
Yeah, this is for us.
Sorry, we were a little selfish. Next stream, I'll read your comments more, etc., etc. But thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, Phi, for joining.
Thank you.
And we will. Do you have anything to promote or plug?
Yeah, I should have a video out either tomorrow or the day after, and asks the question of what happens when you get infected with 2 viruses at once.
Okay, 2 viruses at once. So be sure to watch that. Be sure to watch Phi's videos, and remember when he does the "you be the scientist" thing, you have to pause the screen. Don't let Dora tell you where to explore. You need to start thinking for yourself. I will admit that I've done that, and I've never been able to figure out any of the questions you've asked me because I have no background in bio, but I try.
That's totally fine. Yeah, the important thing is that you try, that you had the will to power to warp the world around you.
Yes. Two narcissistic old men yelling at clouds. That's exactly right, Holly. That's what it's been. Thank you. Thank you. I will see everyone on Friday. On Friday, I will do another stream on Friday. I forgot what the stream is called. Let me pull it up very quickly because I actually have a schedule for this week. It is The Denial of Death by Ernest Becker. That is a look at, well, the denial of death and as an explanation for why why humans do things. It argues that we do things and perpetuate horrible stuff and good stuff as well, all of that because of our denial of our eventual demise. We're gonna explore that briefly, probably read a chapter or two. That'll be on Friday. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Fi. Goodbye.
Bye.